Hanging from a thread till you dead, cause your partner put a price on your head. Cause your chick was laying up in his bed, she getting details, spilling every word that you said. She working retail, thirsty bitch just trying to get ahead. If history tell us anything, y'all both end up dead. It's just a street tale, a fable, some shit someone said. Sit at the table and hope there's more to offer than bread. Pulled out the cradle, first steps you getting chased by a fed. No head starts, just body parts and lead sparks. Old religion, brand new hate and weak hearts. Oligarchs, krakens, dragons, you see sharks. Imagine you could manage to maneuver the deep part. You a savage, you can have it, just show all your teeth sharp. If you could grab it, you could stab it, just aim for the bleeding heart. The ones that show compassion, the soldier that seeks art. Does the artist that wage war take over or take part? Taking a knee, thinking no one faithful is me. I'm good people in bad lands, no evil live within me. I mind mine, I'll survive, find this lands for the free. If I'm mistaken, I'm forsaken, no one rescuing me. Residual effects, stray bullets through familiar necks. For any number of infractions that I deem disrespect. Your beliefs, you deserve better, but we both in the shit. You just haven't come to grips with it yet. Fight or flight, and they ain't really nowhere to go. If your back is against the wall and you ain't throwing no blows, you gon' crumble in the rubble, become blood in the snow. If you a victim, they collect them, grab the body and go. Dig them and ditch them, total disregard for the soul. Gas them and lit them, watch the flesh burn in the glow. Where we live and catch a shiver, this a hell you don't know. Your best hope is that your dying ain't slow, or your dying's a show. Where we at, it's every man for his own. A bloody backdrop, where killers just zone and slice flesh to the bone. Masked and gloved up front of your home. A flash of gun, but the side of your dome. Fresh blood from a stone, dents in your sense. Kick your fucking ball through the fence, dare you to say something. No sense in sitting around in suspense. Find out what's next, open your fucking mouth, disrespect. See the extent of how my life is intense. She beautiful and oppressed in a permanent summer dress. She a servant and still she blessed. Children cradled against her breast, whispering prayers, wishing their souls the best, knowing that they forgotten, not forgetting they're blessed. The bloodiest red lights, just piles of dead life. Something must be broken, the glyphs wasn't read right. You think them Bible papers would shed light? Yeah, right. Burn after reading, tell the preacher I'm leaving. What is poppin', my people? Salutes to y'all. I appreciate y'all for being here tonight on this lovely Wednesday evening. I believe it's Wednesday evening. Salutes to y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all. We're here to hang out for a bit. Got a couple of things to look into. Salutes to y'all. All right, we're going with one song tonight because I want to jump right into things. All right, so hopefully YouTube sends out the notification and everybody comes through and we get to hang out for a bit. So salutes to you. I appreciate you for being here. Shout out Sally Correa. She was in here early. Salutes Chucky Chingon. Yuck TV said just subscribed. I loved all the content on the Twins. Salutes to you. I appreciate you, sir. Make sure you check out our playlist. If there's any, we have an exclusive playlist of all of the times that the Twins been up here. So there's a lot to check out on this channel. I appreciate you for coming through. Salutes. Live like it's your last. Salutes to you. Tuned in from Cleveland. Salutes to Cleveland. We appreciate you. All right. Shout out to Cleveland. Oso on the check-in. Salutes Oso on the check-in. Appreciate you, sir. All right. Boom. What we going to talk about today? Today we're going to go through an interview that Ed Calderon did with Ironclad, with actor homie from the Mayans. Salutes to him. Can't think of his name right now. Rocco. Salutes to him. I want to check that out because this is the first that we hear from from Ed Calderon. Since all of this Mayo stuff has happened, we had done a reaction video to him. I believe, I forget who he was speaking to, but we did a I think it was Johnny Mitchell. We did a reaction to that most recently, and then right after that came the El Mayo joint. El Mayo got popped off. Right after that, two things happened: the attempted unaliving of the former president, and then right after that, El Mayo happened. So I hadn't heard from Ed Calderon on the El Mayo story. So we're gonna go through that today. There's also a Navy SEAL I want to check out that was also talking to Julian Dory about the Chinese connection and how that's going on here, and posing the same thoughts that Nicholas Irving was talking about. So we're gonna look into that as well. Throughout the Ed Calderon joint, they're gonna talk about what's going on in Sinaloa. Everybody wanted bloodshed, right? Everybody was waiting for the war. Why hadn't it happened yet? Well, it's here now. You happy now? Hit the like button if you have yet to do so. 25 concurrent viewers, 7 likes. I appreciate y'all. Salutes to Ivan. Ivan, he was the number 7 like. Appreciate you. Shout out Sally Correa. Where's Soraya at? Soraya's working, so she might pop in a bit. We'll see what happens. Salutes Albert Flores on the check-in. I appreciate you, sir. Salutes to Albert Flores from the entire channel for always helping push the content forward. Appreciate y'all. For those that don't know how this channel works, this is a live stream. On this live stream, we will cover various topics. While we cover those topics, I will give my reaction, and I will have conversation and dialogue with the chat. We'll go through all that. Then during the week, we take these various topics that we spoke on and we cut clips out of them. We clean them up for time and put those out as well. So if live streams ain't for you, you'll be able to catch the edited version. For those that are like, well, he keeps putting out the same thing. No, sir, you just happen to watch both. So that's how this channel works. We'll be hanging out. Heads up for Friday. On Friday, we're going to be covering, shout out to Felix Reyes, but Freddie Lopez, I believe was his name, was up in here last week, and he was telling me that there's a theory around the Cartel and La Barbie and the Janet Rivera situation. So we'll be looking into that in depth on Friday night if everything goes according to plan. All right, salutes Felix Reyes on the check-in. I appreciate you. But that's basically what we're going to cover tonight. Salutes to y'all. Make sure y'all, if y'all are truck drivers, y'all out there working, or if you're on the road, or if you're traveling or whatever, safe travels to everybody that's out there tonight. If you're out there partying, drink responsibly. Smoke them if you got them. Crack them open if you got them. If you're sober, here's a hug from me to you. And with that said, man, we're going to start getting into it. We're going to get into the violent aftermath of the arrest of the Sinaloa cartel leader, El Mayo, with Ed Calderon and Vincent Rocco Vargas. Salutes to him. I enjoy his acting in the Mayans. I believe he's a soldier. He's an author now. He got a book that's out. He's got a couple of things under his belt that I'm trying to get under my belt too. So salutes to him. I appreciate him. Shout out Luis Garcia on the check-in. Saludos. Let's get it.
Right now, before we started recording, you were talking about some intel that you were getting. Do you feel comfortable talking about that right now? What's going on?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know for those who are listening, you can explain why the chaos is kind of happening now, but that's
sure.
That's from the recent apprehension of a high-level cartel official, correct?
Yeah. So I have both. I still have contacts and friends of mine still work down there, specifically in Culiacan, in Sinaloa, which is a very rowdy place right now. We just went through the arrest. Well, the apparent arrest of El Mayo Zambada, a historical cartel figure who in over 50 years has never been arrested, never been detained. We had very few pictures of this guy. This guy was a ghost. He could have taught Osama bin Laden some lessons about hiding. He landed in on a small airfield in New Mexico near the Texas border. Supposedly, he was, according to his lawyers, he was ambushed at a meeting in Sinaloa. zip-tied and betrayed by Joaquin Guzman, who is one of El Chapo's sons, and handed over to the U.S. Authorities. They put him on a plane and basically flew him over the border. The veracity of that story is kind of suspect. There's a few theories out there that we can talk about later. But his arrest has led to a pretty violent
Veracity of what story?
upscale. The veracity of that story and handed over to the U.S. Authorities. They put him on a plane and basically
So yeah, the
flew him over the border.
the betrayal story.
The veracity of that story is kind of suspect. There's a few theories out there that we can talk about later. But his arrest has led to a pretty violent upscale situation in Sinaloa. This past weekend, they saw the murder of about 15 people that we know of. I just got some pictures of one of them. There's apparently a cleansing going on in the region and a war, an internal.
Right, so if you let Ed Calderon tell it, all of that stuff everybody was talking about, why isn't there blood in the streets of Sinaloa? Why did it take so long? Well, evidently there's blood in the streets now, so if you guys are excited about that, if that's what gets you a goose, you know what I'm saying? Whatever works for you, bro. Shout out Upper Echelon on the check-in. Shout out Hector Rivas. Gilbert Away, salutes to you, bro. He said, what he say, 15 fresh bodies? And he's getting pictures? He's plugged, huh? Getting pictures and shit.
This past weekend, they saw the murder of about 15 people that we know of. I just got some pictures of one of them. There's apparently a cleansing going on in the region and a war, an internal war.
Shout out Fernando. Is anyone going to call out Ed for his fake text message tweet that he posted with Mayo's grandson? Let me ask you, Fernando, was it Ed? I thought that was Chaparro that did that. Am I wrong?
War of the Sinaloa curtain and pictures of one of them.
Because we sat here and we had a conversation about that. Like, what's he talking about? And he came out with that shit right away. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Ivan Castro. Is shy Puerto Rican? I am. So are you rooting for Berlanga against Canelo? I don't. I believe that. I don't get into it when it comes to, nationality. I don't take that into account with boxing or with combat sports. I'm very serious about combat sports. To me, I want to see the best fighter win. I believe that kid Berlanga has a puncher's chance, but I don't think he's gonna beat Canelo. I think his fight IQ claims are crazy, and so I'm going. I think Canelo's gonna win this fight. Salutes. But yeah, let's make sure if that was Ed or if that was Luis Chaparro that said, "Hey bro, the first guys to go were my people. Tano and Leo are Tomas' brother-in-law. Tomas being who? Tommy? The first guys to go. You mean the first guys to go in this conflict in Sinaloa? In these 15 that dude's talking about? Let me know. Okay. Shout out Victor Islas. Hector Rivas says it's Calderon legit. He's been around a long time and blew after being on Joe Rogan. That he did. That was the first that I had ever heard of him was on the Joe Rogan podcast. Hit the like button, y'all. 42 concurrent viewers and only 14 likes. Let's get this mathing. Fernando said Ed always ends up on fear-mongering conservative channels. But hey, you got to pay the bills. Yeah, people are talking to him. He got a story to tell. Shout out, man. Aaliyah said, I heard from OG Shadow he was corrupt too. But everybody going to have something to say about each other. You know what I'm saying? People going to talk shit about me eventually if I get to that status. Or when I get to that status where, they know who I am, I'm sure they're going to shit on me too. Shout out Fernando. He said, Shot, let me take that back. Take my statement back. You are correct. Salutes. Hector Rivas says Canelo cherry picked him. Easy money. Yeah, he's gonna get that paper. Upper Echelon says yes. So some of his guys got done up in this bloodshed that has begun in Sinaloa. Shout out Ivan Castro. Big time cookers and hustlers. Bro, what's crazy is that they call him an expert, yet they'll talk ish about me. Huh? Yeah. They'll be like, you're not an expert, bro. You told.
Hit the like button, y'all. That's what they're gonna tell you. Um, is he an expert? You know what I mean? Is he an expert? I, I mean, he's been boots on the ground in certain situations. He's an expert in that. What's happening now, I don't know. But like you said, he's, like Fernando said, you got to get that paper. Sinaloa effed up the game since the get. We always had conflict here with them, plus they've been on the betrayal game. It's a problem. But it looks like the peace is over in Sinaloa. The confusion is done, and that's it. Upper Echelon said, nope, it's all based on his personal opinion. Yeah. But I mean, even expertise. That's why when you go to court, the defense has their own experts and the prosecution has their own experts, and they can't agree on shit either. So that shit seems like opinion too. It all seems like a bunch of bullshit. He's a cop from Baja California. Who cares? Now they know everything. Why don't you tell us how you really feel, huh? You got a good microphone over there? No earbuds? Why don't you tell us? Why don't you break down this? Why don't you call bullshit on him every time he opens his mouth? Every time he says the wrong shit. All right, but there it is, y'all. Evidently, there's bloodshed in Sinaloa. This is what everybody was worried and wondering about. Now that you got it, so what? Now what? Huh? Personal experience like a rug counselor is what counts. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds on the check-in. Salutes to you. I appreciate you for being here. There you go. Upper Echelon, I want to laugh it off. Salutes.
There's apparently a cleansing going on in Pitchfork Hill.
It's a shit show? Hold on. It's a shit show. Shai, do you think people like Calderon pay cops and cartel members for info, like subscription services? As what? As a pro? You're a professional, bro. You're a pro, dog. You got it. You got your badge. Do you think people like Calderon pay cops or cartel members for like subscription services? I mean, I'm sure he's built up a lot of relationships over the years. I'm wondering if there's an does he have his own YouTube channel? I don't see him. He don't have his own YouTube channel. He be on everybody else's show. I'm sure he probably gets a number for that. But I mean, I'm sure there's favors, boxes of cigars, this, that, or whatever else. I'm sure there's favors. I'm sure there's probably business, straight business. Quite possible. But that's just my opinion. You know what I mean? These guys got to stay in the know. Once they're out of the know, then, it's out the dough. Ed to the cartel was like, ve por las cocas. I mean, tell us how you really feel, though. Say it with your chest, though. You know what I mean? You can say what you want in the chat. I'm kind of hating on him, and I'm not a hater. Maybe you are. Maybe you just don't know it. Huh? You got to pay attention to yourself. Gordo Gordito says, yes, he has a podcast. Okay, then I need to look into his podcast and see what his channel is. Because it's just like with people that do content. You know what I'm saying? People feel the need to get a video that beats the last video, and they end up doing stupid shit over it. So if that means, either fabricating stuff or paying for stuff or doing what you got to do, you got to do what you got to do. 54 concurrent viewers, 19 likes. Hit the like button, y'all. Salutes. He does have a channel. He had Conejo on. Okay, salutes. Thank you guys for correcting me. Joe Rogan ain't messing with me yet. You gotta work harder, Upper Echelon. Get that Joe Rogan shit. A lot of us grew up alike, but in different sides of the U.S. I got good stories like the twins were called narco juniors, next generation traffickers who got out. We gotta use punctuation, guys. I'm gonna speak that run-on sentence the way it is. Salutes. Manifesto Radio podcast is his. The Conejo interview was good. Okay, something to look into. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Situation and the veracity of that story.
Right? There's a cleansing. Who's getting cleansed, y'all? Are they gonna eliminate the whole Chapito faction off the face of the earth? Now, remember something that Jay Flores said when we first started having this Mayo conversation. He said something to the effects of, if the twins pulled off what we think they pulled off, imagine how many people they had. I mean, not the twins. If the Chapitos pulled off what we think they pulled off, imagine how many people they had to move around and hide. You know what I'm saying? I guess those movements were extremely important to what's happening right now, because what he's talking about is a cleansing. But what's the cleansing? Work harder, bro. I have to practice being full of shit. Oh, me too. I gotta figure that one out. It's rough. Shout out Dan Sosa. Appreciate you on the check-in. Salutes. Yeah, I don't think he was calling you a narco junior. It was just a run-out sentence. You're a Margarito Jr. Right?
It's kind of suspect. There's a few theories out there that we can talk about later. But his arrest has led to a pretty violent upscale situation in Sinaloa. This past weekend, they saw the murder of about 15 people that we know of. I just got some pictures of one of them. There's apparently a cleansing going on in the region, and a war, an internal war of the Sinaloa cartel. If people want to view the Sinaloa cartel, it's not a single cohesive entity. It's small factions that are federal, that form a federation of a cartel, basically. With El Mayo gone, a lot of the influences, a lot of the know-how, and a lot of the power that he had went with him. So now you're seeing a plan.
So now what? It went with him. All that power sitting with him in that little cell. What good was it? You know what I'm saying? Good. It was good while it lasted. Jeez Louise. Echelon said, tell these trolls in the chat to give me some advice. What you need advice on? How to get on the JRE? How to get on the Joe Rogan podcast?
Probably perpetrated by some of El Chapo Guzman's sons. But there's a clear crack in the system right now going on down there. Everybody is in hiding in one way or another, and violence is roaring now. It was pretty quiet after the arrest, but now you're starting to see some of the stories of what actually happened during the supposed abduction of El Mayo Zambada, and obviously who's responsible for some of this apparent betrayal.
Yeah, I was curious about it. I thought there would be a lot more, I guess, news about this immediately. I thought it was going to be immediate kickbacks of deaths and internal fighting. And then
that's what everybody thought. That's what everybody was waiting for. Everybody was waiting for the end of The Sopranos where Tony's head gets smacked off the wall. That's what everybody was waiting, the moment that they said, oh, the old man's in the United States. Well, where's the blood? If that was true, there'd be blood. All right. Well. Oh, chat, to the trolls out there, Upper Echelon wants to know, he needs some advice on how to be full of shit. Because evidently full of shit pays nowadays. You know what I mean? So I guess I got to get full of shit too. We'll see what happens. I think I want to do what the unintentional villain troll did. The unintentional troll did. I think I want to make very obvious things that should be obvious. Videos that should be very obvious. But people misinterpret them and just let them run with it. Never deny it. Say it out loud here. There's still going to be millions of people that are just going to run with the bullshit. Facts. Upper Echelon said he's full of it and it still hasn't started. You should just take the link, bro. You should just take the link and let's talk about it. Get your ass out the chat. Andre Vargas said that guy with the headphones are all bullshit. Don't waste your time with him. Ed Calderon, yeah, everybody has an opinion about him. But in this chat, everybody got an opinion about everybody. Hit the like button, though. Salutes. 46 concurrent viewers, 23 likes. Upper Echelon is in the chat talking crazy. But he don't want to take the link. Right? He's scared. He's scared of Ed Calderon. That's why they called us. That's what they called us. If your pop was a dealer, just an expression. Facts 100. Sad but true. What? He's talking bullshit? Just make up a bunch of cartel stories. I'm just gonna make up some shit, right? Just make up some shit, but I want to be mad obvious with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like old girl did. Put it at the bottom after the hashtags and say I do this shit for views, but you dummies just don't get it. I'm telling you, they're gonna run with it. Alright? They're gonna run with it. Salutes. Let's get it. But yeah, everybody expected bloodshed right away. Didn't work. It didn't happen like that. Things ain't always gonna go the way you think they are. Just because it's you know, weighing out the variables of what you think can happen. The unthinkable happened. These dudes pulled the move and snatched that old man up and brought him to the United States. That's what happened. You know, Manalea said, yo, Shy, you should reach out to Ed and have him on a live. Tell him to get on the live right now. Somebody get a hold of him. Tell him to get on the live right now. Tell him Upper Echelon called them out. We already starting the bullshit. I think I'm learning how to do this bullshit stuff. Upper Echelon.
Currently on the news, we don't really hear deaths news about this immediately. I thought it was going to be immediate kickbacks of deaths and internal fighting. And then currently on the news, we don't really hear that this is happening. You're probably going to be one of the first ones to hear before most of us do. But you start to kind of catch a buzz that things are happening. Now, when you say that there's a cleansing, are they trying to look for who was involved in this? Is that what we're saying? Is that they're trying to see who was the corrupt individuals?
I think if you
who they looking for? Who they trying to cleanse? Who's the genocide on right now? Huh? Who's winning? Basically. Shout out Chucky Chingon. George Constanza is a good one, bro, for the Brujos. Yeah, I saw that. I appreciate you for putting that in the Discord. Thank you for helping push the content forward. We'll catch that on another day. Looks interesting. And there's another site that I want to put y'all up on today that I need everybody to stop going to, man. It's so trash. Who can guess which site I'm talking about? Which YouTube page I'm talking about? It's a trash ass page. That's all I'm gonna say about it. You tell me if you can guess. It's based on cartel stuff, but it's just bullshit. Upper Echelon said, give me like 20 minutes. Bet. Mayo's old. I'm sure the young guns went where the money was. Yeah, they made the wild decision. If you notice, the Chapo side of the family, they're the ones that take the outlandish idea and they make that shit manifest, bro. You know, tunnels, wars in the streets. They make these crazy outlandish things happen. And they had the outlandish idea to snatch that old man up, and they did. It's crazy. Albert Flores said, Jay, that's what I told Shy, and like Ed Calderon. But he's biased. Everything he says is based off his point of view. No knock on him. It's just opinion based. And again, I don't think he denies it. He says it. It's my opinion. But take notes and ask me questions because I don't want to listen to this BS. All right, y'all. Get y'all questions together for this young link takeage from Mr. J. Flores. We're gonna see what he got to say about this. But see now you copping out because I want you to call all the bullshit. All right. But we're going to see. I'm gonna take notes on some bullshit. We're starting with the genocide. We're going to start there. Keep that. Why does Upper Echelon dislike Ed? It sounds personal. We're going to ask him.
Say that there's a cleansing. Are they trying to look for who was involved in this? Is that what we're saying? Is that they're trying to see who was the corrupt individuals?
I think if you see what happened and the lack of action after this apparent arrest, abduction, the confusion. People don't really know, not even at high levels within in some of these organizations, that they know what was happening. Even the federal government in Mexico doesn't still know what's happening. And they're actually they're the most nervous of all of them, I guess, because to operate in Mexico for 50 years, putting drugs into the United States, you have to probably have some friends in high-level government, and I'm sure he has those names in his head, and now he's currently in federal custody. So I imagine some of the federal forces in Mexico are kind of nervous. There was confusion and paralysis after this news dropped.
All right, it's another question. Was it confusion? Right? Hold on, we're gonna write this down. I'm writing this down. He's making me work. All right. Is it a genocide? Who's the genocide on? He hasn't even answered that question yet, but he just asked him. We're about to see genocide. And did confusion slow things down? Quite possible. Shai, you got a lot of knowledge in your forum on narco-ish. Probably the hardest channel out. Respect. Salutes to you, Chucky Chingong. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you. I'm learning along with y'all teach me a lot. So salutes. Let's get it. Hit the like button, y'all. All right, so boom. He says confusion is what slowed down the melee in Sinaloa,
which is telling. Some of the federal forces in Mexico are kind of nervous. There was confusion and paralysis after this news dropped, which is telling. Which means that this was probably orchestrated and planned at a high level. On one side, you have the Mexican government now trying to come up with treason charges for Joaquin Guzman Loera, who, according to the official narrative, was the one that ambushed El Mayo Zambada, put him on a plane, zip tied him in, and flew him over the border. Imagine that. Mexico is processing treason charges to this man. That should be very telling.
Yeah, that's insane. I don't think the audience might not pick that up is
get his ass back. That's what the audience needs to pick up. Get him back. That's what Mexico talking about, right? That's what he's inferring. Get him back. We need him back. Treason charges. We need him back so that he don't tell on us.
that one cartel boss is more important than the other one is what the government is saying, and they're actually calling treason on one for being in the assistance of apprehending this one. That means that individual has so much power tied into the federal government itself that they're so nervous about it, they're trying to make actions to kind of almost save face.
That's kind of the deal there. And again, one of the biggest cartels in Mexico is the federal government. That's a clear thing. And if anybody had any doubts about it, and when I say federal government, there's going to be a few listeners. And again, this is all my opinion. There's going to be a few listeners out. That's kind of the deal there. And again, one of the biggest cartels in Mexico is the federal government. That's a clear thing. And if anybody had any doubts about it, and when I say federal government, there's going to be a few listeners. And again, this is all my opinion. There's going to be a few listeners out there who are from Mexico or probably have some sort of relationship to Mexico that are in love with the current administration currently down there. You can change whoever's in the presidency. It doesn't matter. The line of corruption and power in Mexico has been clearly defined for the past 40 years now. And it doesn't respect and it doesn't give a shit who's in power as far as the presidency. We just went through an election cycle that murdered many of these candidates, which is a clear indication that all of them were sponsored by one side or the other as far as cartels down there. We're seeing a very nervous federal government. We're seeing a weakened Sinaloa cartel, which in some ways is good news. But in others, it's kind of like there's always power vacuums that happen. And being somebody that has experienced what it's like to take out one organized crime element that is in control of a whole region, like I've had that experience, putting everything in place for them to be taken out. It's almost overnight that any underlings that had phone call connections or that kept a BlackBerry or that had a Ledger is now the new guy, and it's almost sudden and immediate that new heads get placed in power and things start growing again.
And did that give the potential for other cartels like CJ&G or whatever to gain more power? Right, it's almost like a great opportunity for them.
I mean, the one that the U.S. should be really worried about is the new generation cartel. And I know you've had people kind of talk about that same thing before. I can talk about it in a few ways. A lot of the people that I used to work with, that's where they went to work.
So guys that you worked with, like trying to take out the cartel, has turned around and now works for them.
Some of the people in the past that I've worked with and trained with, and
that's why I feel like Ed Calderon was just in a gang. He was just in another gang. You know what I'm saying? He was in the police gang, but a gang nonetheless. You know, I've always felt that way. He just said some people that he used to work with in his unit have flipped, gone to the other side. All right? Shout out Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. She got to the baby's dance class. She can listen now. Salutes to you. Salutes to Sheldon on the check-in. I appreciate you. Fernando said treason isn't a slippery slope, whether he's a criminal or not. Mayo was the federal government. I don't doubt it. He's 100% correct. The government of Mexico is a cartel. I got a good question for Jay on this whole treason charge. If it's for preference towards Mayo or something, but I'll save Yeah, you guys gotta figure out your typing. You're making me look crazy. Hit the like button, y'all. Try that one again. Albert salutes.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
All right, let's get it. Hit the like button.
Some of these people went to training with me, at least 2 training cycles in places like Coronado and San Diego.
They flipped.
So some of these people that I used to work with, that's where they went to work. I mean, these are highly trained individuals. I'm currently doing training in the US, and every now and then I get questions like, oh, dude, does everybody like down there know some of this shit? It's like, well, some do, some that were trained by Americans that then went down and had that experience down there. The new generation cartel is a threat, and it's a different type of organization. Now you just saw the destabilization, and we're probably witnessing the dissolution of what was the Sinaloa cartel on one end. On the other, the federal government in Mexico was actually making an effort or an attempt to attack and debilitate this new generation cartel. It has done so for most of this administration because it's not on their side. Federal government currently Sinaloa cartel favored in a lot of ways.
Sinaloa cartel is the teacher's pet. Hit the like button, y'all. All right, Trust the Science said Ed's been fishy. He exposed a journalist's location in Mexico over some petty beef. That's foul. I'd like to look into that story. If he did that, that's some bullshit right there. That's some, yeah. So what? He's like the DJ Vlad of cartel shit? He wild and doing petty shit, arguing with people and shit. Also said, basically, if you can't beat them, join them. That's where we at over here, too, bro. We're going to start just telling lies and talking bullshit because that seems what gets the million views, you know what I mean? We're going to look into it, all right? Basically, it's the shout out Chucky Chingon. Basically, it's the changing of the guard facts. Now we see the ghost Mayo, who's a regular Joe, who looks like the guy working at the carniceria, yep. Chapito's made a deal now. Mencho and new factions will rise. Absolutely. Somebody's going to rise. Fernando said in Mexico, the definition of treason is by a person performing acts against the independence, sovereignty, or integrity of the Mexican nation, with the purpose of subjecting it to a foreign person, group, or government. In those instances, when a person is illegally deprived of his liberty or her liberty in the national territory to deliver him or her to the authorities of another country or to transfer him or her out of Mexico for such purpose. Coño. It's a lot. Alright? Especially for a slow brain like mine. Alright? I got the first part though. Right? I got the first part. Let me see. Acts as an independent acts against the independent sovereignty. So yeah, it's treason. Those instances when a person is illegally deprived of his or her. Okay. But again, they didn't charge Mayo with shit. He just got took. They just got to get him back. I guess that was the point they were making. That they charged the Chapito for the shit. They want that dude back. He's a threat to the sovereignty of the country in some way, shape, form, or fashion, no? But yeah, salutes. I appreciate you, Fernando, for bringing the legalities involved. They got red. Saludos Shy in the chat. Salutes JFL. Right? Treason. In Mexico, the definition of treason is by a person performing acts against the independence, sovereignty, or integrity of the Mexican nation with purpose of subjecting it to a foreign person. All right, so handing it over to somebody else, group or government. In those instances, the person is illegally deprived. Okay, I'm with you now. I get it.
So now you're seeing a destabilized Sinaloa cartel, which is not in the best interest of Mexico's federal government. And having a Mayo Zambada in U.S. custody makes them really nervous.
A destabilized Sinaloa cartel and a Don in the joint.
And on the other end, you're seeing the rival cartel grow, and now they have a clear path to a nightmare situation for the U.S., which is a segment of the border wall being controlled by new generation cartel forces. That's what we're all kind of looking at now. If that happens, now they have a clear corridor into the United States. This is a high.
Yeah, why is that a threat?
Hit that like button, yo.
Online on Mac immerses you in a universe with thousands.
This isn't the Sinaloa cartel. These guys are not about being subtle or about maintaining appearances. They're overt paramilitary. They are some of the only cartel organizations that have taken down helicopters. They know well enough to get man pads to get around the threat of aerial assets that the U.S. That the Mexican military could set up against them. They're sophisticated. They're sponsored. During the COVID epidemic, we saw a lot of the fentanyl still being pumped into Mexico and up into the United States through this new generation cartel because they clearly have some sort of relationship with China. They just act differently. We have seen them battle hardened in places like Michoacan, where trench warfare and drone warfare was going on before the Ukrainian conflict. They're just a different animal. Ghillie suits, precision shooting from long range, IEDs, tried and proven drone technology being utilized for counterinsurgency type operations or warfare before the Ukrainian conflict. It's a threat. These are guys you haven't seen something like that close to the border or in the United States before, and I think that's what might happen next.
Yeah, when you say that, the historically the cartel does not create chaos on the American side of the border because it would cause us to, and I'm talking on the law enforcement side, to double up, triple up on our manpower and actually hurt their means of insertion or smuggling drugs. There almost seems like a not a public agreement, but they don't cause harm to us on our side on the borders. I'm saying affect our border patrol agents. There's no shooting across as much as you would think. There's not this massive threat. And it feels like there's almost this, like I said, an agreement, almost like this is, you guys do your job, we do our job. If we get some by, you get some by. It is what it is. And it's kind of like this cat and mouse game. This new cartel sounds like they might not care so much about that kind of relationship.
It's layered. You have, whenever you think about cartels and you see some of these online, you'll see these kids in the back of a truck with an AK, and these are usually localized cartel forces that will, operate in regions that they control, and they can be overt about it and running around with AKs. What you rarely hear about is stuff like dude walking out of a public park into a car that's already waiting for him, going into that car, driving somewhere, shooting somebody point blank in the face with a .22 caliber pistol suppressed, after gaining some intel on him with trail cameras, and then going back into that park and then just walking into the woods. This happened in the U.S., and this was done by one of the new generation cartel guys. This is sophistication. This is training. These are some of the higher level capacities of these organizations. And again,
is he fear-mongering?
These guys are more militarized. They have.
Is he fear-mongering, or these guys got super goons? Like y'all didn't see the video. There was a dude. He was playing like a Hasidic Jew. Had the curls, had the hat. He was working under the hood of the car. A dude came out to get his car. He turned around, plugged him, boop boop, and rode off. Huh? These guys got assassins like that? Is that what's happening? Or is that Calderon fear-mongering? Manalia said he definitely has a point there. During AMLO's 6 years as president, CJ&G gained a lot of territory and Sinaloa is fractured. Yuck TV said Maito Flaco is next up. He seems smarter than the remaining Chapitos. He's well-connected and highly intelligent. We're going to see. Shout out Scuba Steve on the check-in. 36 likes. Salutes to you, sir. I appreciate you. 65 concurrent viewers. 37 likes. Hit the like button. It's the thing you can do for free. If you'd like to have your comment broadcast live on the screen, we have a text-to-speech function that is in the description. It's a Power Chat link and a Streamlabs link. Either one will work for you. And it would look something like this. I'm going to play an old one from Jonathan Pantoja. Hit the like button, y'all.
Jonathan Panto just sent $5 a PQ to the trolls and ghost watchers along the way. We deserve better.
Yeah, big fuck you to the trolls and ghost watchers. Salutes. Hit the like button. Won't cost you a thing. Fernando said the last clause was added relatively recently to the Mexican Federal Criminal Code. In its Article 123, 20 years ago in April 1990, Dr. Humberto Alvarez Machain was kidnapped in Guadalajara. I believe he was returned, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out Scuba Steve. Salutes to the chat. I appreciate you, sir. And transferred to El Paso. He was kidnapped in Guadalajara, transferred to El Paso to be tried for his alleged involvement in the unaliving of U.S. DEA agent Kiki Camarena. Chuck Chigong said a lot of them are scared of our prisons, but they'll cap you and run across the border. Or they get busted and run. I got a boy who got caught with bricks and left to Mexico, became a cop. It's a beautiful thing. Hit the like button, y'all. Salutes.
Current active battle-hardened individuals that have gone through multiple.
So first they tried to associate AMLO to the Sinaloa cartel, but since the narrative doesn't fit, now we're seeing CJ and G. It's going to keep going too. All right, they plugged with somebody. What if AMLO ain't the power? Same way as Biden and Trump aren't.
Conflicts in Mexico. And they have done a better job as far as recruiting and figuring out who's good for those types of jobs than the Sinaloa cartel. The Sinaloa cartel traditionally has recruited people from the state of Sinaloa. That's kind of like the Italian mob type attitude to it. The New Generation cartel will recruit whoever is useful. So it's a different.
Jason Jones, we had on the show, and he talked about that, how
they cut that.
The New Generation cartel, there's hits and murders that happen here in the United States that are not documented as and not attached to cartel, but they are. And so you're saying the same thing and verifying that. It's probably so done under the radar that none of us are identifying it, but it's happening often.
Yeah, I mean, and just having just another aspect of this that people kind of like you should know. I went through forensic training through the police. When I say forensic training, I mean I know how to corner off like a murder scene. I know about ballistics. I know about fucking striations, and I know all about this type of shit. And they too as well. They have
all right. Did upper echelon hear that? He's an expert. What you talking about, man?
I know murder scene. I know about ballistics. I know about fucking striations, and I know all about this type of shit. And they too as well. They have They took the element of force multiplying that some of the Zetas took way back in the day, and they will have individuals that know about some of this stuff and basically educate the individuals. And the U.S. was looking for terrorist training camps somewhere in Afghanistan with the monkey bars. Well, you have those in Mexico, all over parts of the Sierra and some of the central parts of Mexico, where they're not only not learning, they don't do monkey bars, but they will do long range shooting. There's been a few miniguns out there that we're already seeing being installed in technicals. So it's again, it's a threat that is right under the nose of the United States, but we, for some reason, well, until recently, with some of the stuff that's going on now, which I think, if you look at some of the issues that happened recently, the U.S. Arresting Mayo, which is, I think this is a retirement package for him. That's my opinion. Again, opinions. I don't know. For somebody who's never been arrested for 50 years, it's very suspicious on my end. I don't know. Which is, I think, the U.S. Arresting Mayo, which is, I think this is a retirement package for him. That's my opinion.
There he goes. He believes that this is a retirement package for El Mayo. That El Mayo wants to see his children that he hasn't seen in so long, so he turned himself in to make a deal. I don't know if that part is what he believes, but he does say he believes it's a retirement. It's a retirement deal. Shout out Eddie Jimenez on the check-in. On the check-in, bro, viewers and likes aren't matching. Take a second, hit the like button, y'all. Salutes. He knows the cop side and intel. He knows everything. Salutes. The gist of the show, his face is like, hell yeah. Build a bigger wall. The gist of the show. Build a bigger wall. We're the innovators and inventors who make ish happen. A do with a dream. Salutes.
Again, opinions. I don't know.
All right. He said he believes it's a retirement plan for the old man.
arresting Mayo, which is, I think this is a retirement package for him. That's my opinion. Again, opinions. I don't know. For somebody who's never been arrested for 50 years, it's very suspicious on my end. I don't know. You have to.
Why? He got caught with his pants down. You know what I'm saying? Why is it so hard to believe? Just because somebody does something for so long, fighters are undefeated, right? And then somebody's gotta go, right? In most cases. Shout out Johnny Silvershire. F with your show heavy, but this guy Ed Calderon is a fraud. So I've been hearing from a lot of people. All right? But what I haven't seen is anybody give me the specifics. Even Upper Echelon didn't do that, right? Even Jay Flores didn't do that. No specifics. Everybody just say he full of shit. All right, let's call him on it. So boom, let me write this on the list. A retirement plan. Is this a retirement plan? He was a local Mexican cop in Tijuana. You telling me he was the only clean, non-corrupt? I don't believe that at all. I think he was nation business. That's what I think. He was in the gang, just on the other side, He was in the gang. He was in his own cartel. Shout out Gino. Retirement package got to be the dumbest opinion I've heard. Billionaires don't want to retire in prison. Little common sense cures a lot. Salute Gino. And it's a conversation we've been having here for weeks. Never did I see the incentive of this man turning himself in. And everybody's like, oh, well, he wants to see his family. Stop putting your morality on these monsters that would boil you. You know what I mean? Like, stop. Hit the like button, y'all. Salutes. Lucian said, what's up, Shy? I love that you always cover this content. Salute, my G. Salutes to you. I appreciate you being here. Please hit that like button. It helps out this channel a lot. Subscribe if you have, for anybody that's out there has yet to subscribe and hit the like button, please do. Everybody in the chat has hit the like button because we have, hit the subscribe mode because we are in subscribe mode. You got to be subscribed to this channel for 20 minutes to talk in the live chat. Salutes. Gordo Gordito said, based on what is he a fraud? I need to hear that. Mayo admitted it. He was duped. He admitted it through his lawyer, according to the non-believers, the ones that are back up into the bushes. What up, Shy 298 in the building? Salutes to 298. I appreciate you, sir. He was federal police. Little brother, with a $50 million on your head for 50 years is almost impossible. Right. Until it's possible, right? What did we talk about the other day? How many of y'all have heard the saying, the revolution will not be televised? The revolution will be live, right? That's Gil Scott Heron, right? He said the revolution will not be televised. When he explained what he meant by the revolution will not be televised, he said, well, in order for a revolution to happen, the thought has to enter your mind that you're willing to revolt and that a revolution will take place. And that thought alone is the revolution. It begins everything, right? Like I said the other day, Mike Tyson, Anderson Silva, they had fighters scared before they got into the ring or the cage. Right? This old man was a legend, 50 years and not getting caught, 50 million on his head, a legend. Till a bunch of kids got it in their head, we can take them. And we'll take them to the U.S. And they did. How many people in the last 50 years probably wanted to take that man out and didn't get to the thought in their head that they could do that? That it was possible. Hit the like button, y'all. Salutes. 78 concurrent viewers, 41 likes. Johnny Silver says, Shy will shoot you the link, but Ed Calderon was a TJ cop. His boss, he claims, was a clean, moral cop. Was Julian Leola, known CDS asset. I'm sure they're all connected. Are you in the Discord? Let me drop the link to the Discord in the chat. 80 concurrent viewers, 41 likes. Let me drop the Discord in here. So you could drop links in the content suggestions. Yeah, and the 50 million, that's just a number that I'm repeating, but you get my point. Let's see. It's almost impossible. Years later, JMP coordinated this. Is that a real thought? Do you really believe that? Johnny Silver, Ed Calderon was a security officer in San Diego as well. He got exposed by ex-co-workers. There's a whole expose on him in Reddit several times. All right, I'm going to look into it. Maybe we'll do a show on it. All right, hit the like button, y'all. Salute to all the Ghost Watchers, but it don't cost you a thing. All right, let me get back down here. Let's get it.
Two of his sons who are this is a retirement package for him. That's my opinion. Again, opinions. I don't know. For somebody who's never been arrested for 50 years, it's very suspicious on my end. I don't know. You have two of his sons who are already under federal protective custody. I think this is a retirement package for him. They sent him to New York, so I think they're going to probably utilize some of this as a political thing. But you have this individual who was not only operating openly in Mexico. I mean, his supposed ambush and arrest happened in a mediation meeting he was going to have between the governor of Sinaloa and one of the heads of the university there because they were having some sort of issues, and that he was basically there to mediate. I mean, this is bizarre. You have somebody like him now in the possession of the United States, and the U.S. is dead silent with its counterparts in Mexico. And it's supposedly an FBI operation, which is kind of strange. Wherever this is heading, it's not heading in a way where the federal government in Mexico is comfortable with. So we've heard about designating cartels terrorist organizations. We've heard on both sides of the aisle, and I think this is where we're headed. We're headed towards a place where the U.S. is going to start putting pressure on high level government in Mexico. Mexico is going counter the U.S. It's day by day it's turning into a more of a Venezuela leftist type institution. If you look at it closely, the DA has been kicked out of Mexico for most of this administration, and collaboration and conversation between both sides has been kind of dead and stale. So I think this is where we're heading towards some sort of confrontation between both governments.
Do you think? I mean, there's several questions. I want to keep going down this, but do you think that there's a chance that the U.S. government was involved in some capacity with the Sinaloa cartel? And so,
who flew that goddamn plane, man? Los Angeles Inferno said, Chucky said Mini League's dad tried to set him and the Chapitos up in an ambush and they got away. That's how Nini earned his bones, getting them out. Los Angeles Inferno said Chucky Chingon lies. If they got set up and Damaso had 500 hitters on foot, no way they would have gotten out alive. Use common sense. If they got set up and Damaso had 500 hitters on foot, no way they would have gotten out alive. Unless they did. You know what I'm saying? How are we all so sure about everything, huh?
Bring him back to the United States, like you said, is a retirement package. Almost like this is how we save ourselves from the intel, and this is how we save him from getting killed.
This is the biggest secret of 2024. And they don't want you to know about this.
If you get injured in an
again, my opinion, just from seeing these things at a ground level, and also just
shout out Los Angeles Inferno on the check-in though. Salutes. Y'all hash that one out in the chat. I'm looking forward to it.
I worked at different levels, from federal to state to local in Mexico, and I got to listen and hear a lot of conversations and just the way people thought about some of these cartels from the past. The Sinaloa cartel realistically is not the Sinaloa cartel. It's the Los Angeles cartel because that's where it was born. The Sinaloa cartel as an institution, as it is now, was probably born somewhere in LA. And a lot of the people that showed El Mayo Zambada, who is kind of the historical head of that cartel, how to do his business were people that were operating during the Bay of Pig incident. CIA guys. That knew well enough about arming paramilitary groups and moving things through the air, on the ground, and through the sea.
I'm gonna get a lot of calls from this. Keep going.
This is historical knowledge. People know Mayo Zambada lived in LA. These are.
What's up? None of y'all was his neighbor? He lived in LA. Hit the like button, y'all. He lived in LA. Nobody was his neighbor. Chucky said they did. It's out there. They were pissed they didn't get picked to run the crew after he broke Chapo out and stayed loyal. There's an interview on El Bordo where an CRTL member talks about Loyola and how he physically manipulated him, and Loyola tried to get him to change his afterwards because he put in a complaint on him, and that helped. We're all stuck in our opinions. Salutes. You're right. None of us know anything. Cheers. I appreciate you. Helped him get an early release. Albert, that shit almost gave me a stroke. Salutes. LA, man, this nigga Ed is a clown for real. Man, he said he lived in LA, man. If y'all didn't know, the old man lived right up under y'all noses if you in LA. Salutes to you.
I've heard stories, and again, these are just stories that I've heard during my
these
time.
Are just stories. These are just stories. Shout out Young Jizzle on the check-in. What up, Shot Ill on the live? Salutes. I guess so, but I'm frontline boss. An hour from the border. I hear it all. Salutes.
Of the in LA.
Lived in LA.
These are. I've heard stories, and again, these are just stories that I've heard during my time, of the U.S. asking for aid during 9/11 when the attacks happened to secure the border, and some of those calls were placed to the Sinaloa cartel. When you talk about securing the border, you're not going to call the Mexican army to secure the border.
They call the cartel.
You call the cartels. And
what's up? Y'all calling BS? Who's calling BS? Anybody calling BS? Listen to what he just said. He said he knows that, or he's been told that during 9/11, the United States reached out to the Sinaloa cartel to secure the border. Do you guys believe that? Do not put it past the United States of America, because it's the same thing they did with Lucky Luciano. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember if it was after Pearl Harbor. I don't remember when it was, but I know that happened. I don't remember what beef we had, but they went to the mob for help. You read that from Annabelle's book. You got TJ, I got Nogales. Salutes.
This is before my time. This I was in med school back then, but something I heard from the older guys is that you would see a clear order from all polleros or smugglers to keep on the lookout for Arabs. And that was like a weird telling thing that they would have this instruction, right? So I don't know. In a lot of ways, it would make sense for the U.S. to have somebody like him.
Yeah. And also protect him as he's getting older, saying it's probably time. Let's bring him in.
Yeah.
Mahmoud said it's BS. Bullshit. Salutes. We lost a bunch of viewers. They didn't like that question. Salutes, Young Jizzle. He lived right by Whittier Boulevard in East Los. Man, that's what it sounded like. LA Inferno said, I believe it. I'm the only idiot who believes that the DEA is the ultimate boss of the cartel. I don't know, man. The ultimate boss is evil. Some way, shape, form, or fashion. Greed, power, giving it to lames, insecure, weak men that are only what they are if they could step on, babies and innocent women and children and shit.
He has cancer. I think he's diabetic. I'm not too sure about that. As far as like some of his medical, I think they published his medical scans. But
he looked older. He looked very thin. He looked like
he's sick. Yeah, he's old guy. He's sick. His sons are already in the U.S. under protection.
And he is sick, and he is fragile. And if the U.S. wants to utilize anything he got to say about anybody's government, they better hurry up before he fall over. I mean, it's not looking good for Buddy. No, he definitely did. He used to sell work out there. Oh, he did live in L.A. He was a criminal, but to say Sinaloa was born there is wild. Shout out L.A. Inferno. You a poet. I'm a poet. I didn't even know it. Salute.
Custody. There's a picture of one of them that I think surfaced about a year ago somewhere in an airport in Dallas, which is fascinating that he's just like really moving about. He has kids in the U.S. that showed up to his hearings during his first hearings.
Wait. Did he say there's pictures of him walking around the airport? Where's that at?
His sons are already in the U.S. under protective custody. There's a picture of one of them that I think surfaced about a year ago somewhere in an airport in Dallas, which is Fascinating that he's just like really moving about. He has kids in the U.S. that showed up to his. His sons are already in the U.S. under protective custody.
You know, he looked like
He's sick.
Yeah.
He's old guy. He's sick. His sons are already in the U.S. under protective custody. A few. There's a picture of one of them that I think surfaced about a year ago somewhere in an airport in Dallas.
Oh yeah, but they're talking about Vicente. Yeah, he got kids. Big deal. Shout out Sally said, I believe what he just said. My bad, I was on my 4-hour drive back home in Texas. Sorry, no worries, dog. And no texting and driving. Salutes. Mahmoud said the three letters control the cartels. They created fear and war in Mexico to split Mexico's people, to not unite as Mexico. LA Inferno said he's referring to Vicentillo, the pic surfaced not long ago. Yeah, that's exactly what he was talking about. Salutes to y'all. Hit the like button. 298 said if that's the case, Mencho's cartel was born in the USA too. He did time in the States. Yeah, I think was it here? Him? Somebody, I remember somebody saying that he lived up in the Bay or something at one point. I would see the actor Rafael Amaya at the clubs here with little Metro actual ballers. I would think they were Zambada's clan. He's from the show Señor de los Cielos. His wife's from Tucson. Salutes.
Fascinating that he's just like really moving about. He has kids in the U.S. that showed up to his hearings during his first hearings. So
listen up if you want to escape the 9-to-5 grind with AI software. Forget about coaching, consulting, online.
Whoever he was, and again, this is all theory and just opinions. Whoever he was very essential and important for the U.S. and in U.S. interests. And it's interesting that he was the head of the Sinaloa cartel. But now that he's out of the picture, at least as far as decision making and movement in Mexico, now you're seeing a cleanse of all of his operatives in Mexico, and it's not too clear who's doing this cleansing. Some people might consider in his
cleanse of his operatives. So that's not saying that. See, I've been waiting for him to say who is getting genocided, who is getting cleansed. I thought he was going to say the Chapitos because of what they did. But he's saying Mayo's people are getting genocided.
His own criminal organization some people might consider in his own criminal organization might consider him a traitor, or it might be an internal war brewing, or it might be the federal government down there trying to clean its tracks. Who knows? But it's very clear that something is looming in the future for Mexico and the United States as far as some sort of confrontation. And again, I've been talking about some sort of military intervention in Mexico for the past 3 years now. I said 5 years 3 years ago, and we're on our way to the end of this. We're on our way to something, I guess.
How powerful the cartel is. You and I know this, and I'm not sure why a lot of people don't want to acknowledge this, but they definitely run Mexico. And like you said, it doesn't matter who's president. I know the next president coming on board has the same ideologies as the current president, so there looks to be no real change in how they approach the cartel. And so is there some kind of belief that the cartel is trying to get enough power to eventually legitimately take over the country?
I think we're already there. The current president, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador, visited Sinaloa, and specifically the hometown of El Chapo Guzman 6 times that we know of in this current administration, which there's nothing there of importance but El Chapo Guzman's mother's house and a bunch of tourists that want to take a picture in the big sign that says like La Tuna, right? He's been there 6 times in his administration. One of these times, he basically went on record to say that we shouldn't buy Chinese drugs. We should buy locally made drugs because we should support the local fucking drug dealers, I guess. He shook hands with El Chapo Guzman's lawyer and mother, and like publicly, he didn't give a shit about it. He was like, he's a person too, and all that. So I think in a lot of ways, I
think the government is like a broad, man. Like one of them toxic ones that just go wherever the wind blow. You know what I mean? Like They had their connections. They moved on. I got a new connection now. Whatever works for me. Whatever gets me right. So they could be connected to everybody. It's the same idea as a gun runner selling weapons to both sides of the conflict. Manalia said, according to Annabelle's book, Mayo was in L.A. when his sister's Cuban husband was rug dealing in Nevada and New Jersey, and supposedly he introduced Mayo into the game. For disclosure, I'm not saying I believe. Salutes. I gotta check out that book. But I heard you can't believe everything she got to say either. Can't believe anything everybody got to say. Everything anybody got to say. Albert Flores says military intervention never gonna happen, ever. Chuck Chingon said Caro Quintero's crew is low key coming up in Caborca, Sonora. I don't doubt that. Showbout 33 said, thank God you're not pausing the video. Showbout, I'll do whatever the fuck I want. See, now I might just leave it paused for the next 30 minutes just because you're a shithead. You don't produce my show. Salutes. I'll take your salute after that, but I just ignored another asshole. Don't, you think you're God about stupid shit like pausing videos. Yeah, spoke too early. Spoke too much. You're going to end up in a fucking bench. He ran Atlanta. Who ran Atlanta?
Also, we just saw Mayo Zambada supposedly ambushed during a meeting with the current governor of Sinaloa.
Showbot, I hope you hit the fucking like button coming in here running your mouth. CW, you too. You know? I like to troll and say what you want, but, they move a portion to ATL. Salutes. Chucky said, I'm a new dude. I knew a dude from Guanajuato named Feliciano, looked just like Mencho's Afro pic. Salutes. Shout out Al Gore on the check-in. Hit the like button if you have yet to do so.
Who is teetering on maybe resigning after this whole scandal.
Who's going to resign?
South Person too and all that. So I think in a lot of ways, and also we just saw Mayo Zambada supposedly ambushed during a meeting with the current governor of Sinaloa, who is teetering on maybe resigning after this whole scandal. They were already
teetering.
They were already
tired. Listen, he dodged the bullet. The other guy got smoked. Malesio Quinn got smoked. The other guy made it out of there, right? What they say, he was traveling or some shit. It was something happened that was nice and convenient about that guy. Just, hey, my name's Bennett and I ain't in it. I stay out of it. You know what I mean? Shout out LA Inferno. People better watch out. Shout out Different Monster when he has a fresh cut. I'm a motherfucker when I got, when I'm wolfing. Salutes. Bathroom break. Say the word. I will keep you posted, Chucky. We shall see. Hit the like button if you have yet to do so. Let's go.
Compromised or paid for is what you see.
Think about it. That governor is the only one that got out of there, and he's like, yo no sabo nada. I see nothing. Yo no Nintendo. He don't want to talk. He ain't got nothing to say. First thing I heard was Malesio Quinn got unalived at the gas station, which we all found out was bullshit, and that this dude was on a flight and out of Dodge. So the week after, they got him 2 tons in an 18-wheeler truck of El Mayo's. A week after they got him 2 tons in an 18-wheeler truck of Mayo. Who got it?
Governor of Sinaloa. Ambushed during a meeting with the current governor of Sinaloa, who is teetering on maybe resigning after this whole scandal. They were already compromised or paid for is what you see. I think what's happening in Mexico, and I think we have to kind of like separate everything. There's political power. There's money that comes from old money in Mexico. At least most of it used to come from old money in Mexico that would influence elections. And now you're seeing cartel money being funneled into this institution. That's why candidates being assassinated on one end is increasing. And also on the other end, you're seeing this hands-off approach to cartels in Mexico, with the current administration going abrazos no balazos, like bullets, hugs not bullets.
Hugs not bullets, right.
And now you're seeing a federal administration wanting to put treason charges on a man that took Mayo Zambada across the border. So you're seeing this. There's clear indications of a cartel is not only having an influence, but also ownership over certain parts of the federal government. That's one end. And on the other end is the army, which is never talked about. The Mexican army and its influence and power in Mexico. If you want to talk about one of the most powerful cartels in Mexico, we have to talk about the federal cartel that is the army.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
just a personal story.
See, now I'm gonna pause it, right? So Showbot 33 said, "Are any of these guys credible?" Well, first of all, I'm gonna answer your question right now. We've been having that conversation the whole show, right? We've been having the conversation. A lot of people have stated their opinion, including Upper Echelon, if you know who that is. If you don't, including Upper Echelon, gave his opinion about this guy, whatever, right? Nobody's giving me nothing solid yet. I still have my own research to do, but you know, there's a lot of people we listen to. Who knows which ones are credible, which ones are not. You know, we listen. We check out Ian Grillo. We listen from this person, that person. So who knows? Now, Showbout, you see how I stopped that to answer your question? That's how this shit works around here. This is a live stream. If you don't want interruptions, then you wait until it's edited and it's put out the edited version, and you watch that. All right, just teaching you how things move around here. Nobody produces this show but me. Salutes. LA Inferno said the whole Governor and Quinn ish is so confusing, bro. I still have no idea what that's about. My thoughts is exactly what Mayo said. When they snatched up Mayo in that same place, in that same spot, that's where they took Melesio Quinn's life, right? As far as the other guy, I believe that other guy had the heads up to not even show up to that meeting. You know? So, who knows?
Adon13ish just subscribed on YouTube.
Shout out Adon13ish for the subscription. Let's see what Adon has to say in 20 minutes. Oh, a rant with the answer. Okay. Yeah, you get what the fuck I give you. Or you get gone. Mamu said they will get him. They just be waiting for the pig ready to eat. That's 4 bucks in Atlanta, but everything happened crazy. That's their biggest money maker in Mexico. They stop the rugs, their economy falls. What was I watching? I was watching something where, you know, it was a short, and it was with that dude we was just covering, Jorge Ventura, I believe is his name. And he was talking about how they're paying people's internet bill for 5 years or whatever, and just putting up cameras on people's houses and shit. You know, in Mexico, like it's so much shit going down. The economy falls there is a problem. Shout out Velez 408 on the check-in. All right. Shout out Al Gore. 298 Sosa said the governor was supposedly in L.A. at the time. They staged that too. Exactly. I heard him in one place, then heard him in another. Show wants all the attention. Yeah, that's all that is. Feds look it up. Forest Park, Georgia, at the biggest farmers market. We'll do another day. Just sit back and enjoy. Mahmoud said the U.S. Corps needs a puppet to keep control of the rugs they control and get paid under the table to fund their crimes against our communities. But Les said I was watching some reporters talking about the Sinaloa governor falsifying his trip log to L.A. or something like that. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Plan 007-ish. Salutes. Velez said what's crazy is the driver of the Quinn dipped out and is hopefully hiding and not unalived. Right. Because they let him go because they was like, oh, we messed with this dude. And supposedly because they needed him to go make that video, whatever the hell the conspiracy is. But supposedly they let him go on GP, on good principle. And now they hunting his ass down. They want to tie up that loose end. It's a cold game, boy.
My parents went into, was it Puerto Peñasco? And my dad just took the wrong turn, and the army pulled him over and freaking made him get out of the car, all this stuff. And he just heard a story about his own friend that did that. And they took him to a place. They made him get naked. They, the women and everything. And then they took money from them. And my father was like, shit, I just heard about this. And he just put my own, his wife and kids into that same kind of predicament. And I've always heard, law enforcement out there is kind of corrupt. So, you bring an extra $100 in your shoe if you get arrested for pissing on the concrete or whatever the hell it is, right? Yeah. That's when you go party out there. But like what's turned into now, it's actually very intimidating and scary. And some of the interviews I've done with some of the, migrants who've come across is that they're just as scared of the military that they are of the cartel, because the military themselves are shaking them down and stealing them, and also are just in these interviews that they're also involved in raping and extortion of women too. And so the fear is not only the cartel that's transporting them and extorting them, it's when they have to run into the military next, and it happens all over again.
Yo, y'all are living in a video game in Mexico now. Now, again, these are all people from the United States giving their opinions and saying what they're saying, right? But if I'm listening to the story that they're telling, man, Mexico is oppressed as oppressed can be. Because at one corner you running into the cartel, you running into the stick-up kids, the regular street level shit, you're running into the cartel, you're Don Alejo, you live your life, you get your shit, they want to come take it from you. One way or another you run into it, you know what I'm saying? And it seems hopeless. Because then after that, now you run into the military, they're going to get you too. Your car gets stolen, the police going to sell it back to you. If it's like that all day long, it's like, dang, que más quiere? What else you want? They've been having operatives going to his and his family's houses looking for him with no success. Looking for that driver, man, buddy. Either buddy's in a hole somewhere, unalived, or he's a ghost for as long as he can. Do you think if an ex-U.S. governor got unalived as a result of a foreign government operation, they'd be mad? Bro, they'd have sent the fighter jets already, bro. You know what I'm saying? They'd have sent the fighter jets, bro. They'd have gone crazy. They would have, the bloodbath everybody was looking for, they needed it right away. We need it right away. That would have been it if it was on this side, I think. That's our beach, Penasco, Ricky Point, the party spot. All right. Save that. It's a video game in Chicago, too. Yeah. This shit's crazy, boy.
So the military will bump into a group of immigrants and hand them over to the local cartels. This is documented. It happens regularly.
Doubt it.
We just saw the dissolution of the federal police in Mexico during this administration. Like everybody, like myself, who went through a police academy, went through background checks, polygraph testing, all this shit. And again, my institution that I was a part of, yeah, there was corruption in it.
Shout out Albert Flores. So why can't Mexico be mad for that simple fact? Who said they couldn't? Did I say that? Tell me where so that I could correct myself. I didn't say they can't be mad. I also didn't say that the United States government was going to fold to their demands. They too might be defiant and throw up a middle finger. And here's the thing, there's a lot of things involved. Okay, the governor got unalived, or the former mayor, governor, whatever his name, whatever he was, his capacity was, Quinn. And then there's the old man that they brought with them. So there's a whole bunch of moving parts to that. And I don't have a problem with them saying, hey, we should get him back, especially even if whether they're nervous about him talking or not. They should be like, yo, we should be getting Buddy back. They took him, they bogus. The U.S. is, to me, what I'm saying is they're doing what people been saying from the beginning. Or you know what I'm saying, what I've been saying from the beginning. They're like, I don't know, we came to pick up Joaquin Guzman Lopez, and he just happened to have somebody else on the plane with him. And we was like, oh, look who we got on American, soil. But we ain't had nothing to do with kidnapping him. I don't know. You talk to them about that. But we got to do what we got to do, and you're not getting him back. That's how I look at it. No, not you. The people in the video, it has to be because the government loves Mayo excuse. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like if it was a U.S. governor, man, it'd be a shit fest. Boy, quick. You'd hear the planes over, the whole country would hear the planes over their house getting to where they're going.
Like it's Mexico. There's a lot of these have some of those elements in them. But now the army is basically fully in charge. They came up with this institution of the National Guard, which was supposedly going to be a civilian-controlled federal police force. It's not. It's military controls it. It's federalized, and the army controls it.
Oh, shout out Heck. I missed Heck on the check-in. Salute Heck on the check-in. Appreciate you, sir. Facts. They got him, so he ain't going nowhere. Dirty game. Yeah, they're like, hey man, I don't know what happened, man. He just landed in our lap. He ain't going nowhere though. Sorry. If Guzman's, if he makes himself a good deal, he ends out in the next 20 years, y'all take that up with him when he gets back to Mexico. Otherwise, we don't know what you're talking about. The pilot? What are you? Who flew that plane? I don't know. It was a drone. Whatever. That's what government's playing blame. Then, but since he is here, yeah, we'll take him. We'll take him. Thank you. Appreciate that. Y'all made it easy, man. You closed a 40-year case. Salutes. We might not have wanted closed. CIA might not have wanted it closed. This government faction might not have wanted it closed, but that's what happened. It went down. Hit the like button, y'all. Salute. 67 concurrent viewers, 55 likes. I appreciate everybody for being here. Hundreds up in the chat for y'all. And a salute. Let's get it.
The Army controls all airspace in Mexico now. So the fact that El Mayo Zambada flew out of the country, it's a black eye for these guys as well. All of the new train construction, like the Tren Maya and all of this infrastructure being created across Mexico, airports, all of these things are now federalized and are under control by the Sedena, which is the army in Mexico, basically. And we had a recent...
The army corrupt, the government corrupt, the avocados corrupt, everybody is popped. Nobody's in the game for the people. No, it's never been a thing of, let's help the people. It's been, can we step on these people and be rich? Until they put us in a little cell. And that's all we got. Our power is all in there with us. Can't do shit with it. William Cadell said, maybe I'm saying it wrong, Cato Cadell, you let me know. They all in the same game trying to come up, but some people have to play the role, and I think it was played. But that's a movie, but somebody made a deal, and you're right. And here's the thing, they're gonna make movies about it, bro. They're gonna make movies about it. The move that these chapitos pulled off, if they pulled it off the way I see it in my head, it's crazy. Stranger than fiction. Imagine someone coming into your country and a political figure unalived because Sleepy Joe wanted a trophy. Must have been pissed off. See, I don't be catching the context sometimes. I'm getting a lot, but salutes to you. And it ain't your fault. You typed it up right. It's just I'm trying to put the context together. Unless you're in a resort in Mexico, it's pretty much the Wild West. And I agree. Like, if I'm going to go somewhere in Mexico outside of the resort, I'm going by myself. No, it's not something. I'm going to take the kids. I'm going to take the family. I got a family member that was trying to, or a friend of the family that was trying to. And I was like, nah, man. No, it's just, everything's all good. Okay, cool. Let me get my judgment. My judgment is I go out there alone all day. But I'm not taking no kids out there, no none of that shit. I'm straight. What if it's his brother? Whose brother? Again, I don't know the context. Shy Shave, you could play Joaquin Jr. I don't know, man. That guy got a whole bunch of rumors on his name. Salute. Shout out to Kino on the check-in. I appreciate you, sir. Put it in the air. Let's get it.
So 3 years ago, document leak, kind of like WikiLeaks, but in Mexico, called Guacamaya leaks, which is very underreported in the United States. The people, I highly suggest people that are curious about this kind of look into the Guacamaya leaks.
Definitely gonna check it out.
It's basically,
we gotta look through that. We gotta figure out the Guacamaya. We gotta put a Guacamaya leak. So whatever he said, spot in the Discord. Salute.
the documents from Sedena, from the army itself, where they themselves will say, hey, this region of Mexico where the army operates supports this cartel, and this region over here supports this other cartel. This governor here is a cartel operative, but he is part of the current administration, so we're not going to fuck with him. But this guy over here is from the other party, so let's fuck with him over here. They detail basically what everybody suspects, that they know certain people are working for certain sides, but they just choose not to act against them for political or for whatever reasons. And we also just saw the release of a high-ranking general, Cienfuegos, who was basically one of the highest-ranking generals in Mexico in the past administration, being detained and arrested under cartel charges in the United States. You had the president of Mexico petition for his release, saying, hey, you just drop the charges on him, send him our way, we'll prosecute him in Mexico. Just do us this favor. They did, and as soon as he got on Mexican soil, they drove him to his house. And this is somebody we have on phone, the U.S. at least has on phone, talking to high-level cartel members. It's one of the elements to this war that doesn't get talked about a lot. And again, I worked with the army many times in Mexico, and I got to see both sides of the shadiness, and also but there are some great people there as well. I got to see the driven side of them and some of the not so driven side of them as well. But they've changed. I mean, the power that they have.
How many of these guys talking on these channels and in these videos are not plants, huh? And propaganda machines and you know what I'm saying? Low-level spies. Social media, the social media unit. I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Behind them now, I think they're the true power behind the throne in Mexico, not the cartels, the army. And in a lot of ways, I think they have probably gotten into business with some of these organized crime institutions in regional ways, where they're now working collaboration in some parts. This National Guard unit that just was originated, in my opinion, is a farce. Federally, arrests have gone down, so either they're doing a great job or they're not doing their job, which I think they're probably not doing their job. And cases of them basically harassing, extorting, and doing way worse things to the citizenship of of Mexico have gone through the roof. And like some of the stories that you say, probably Guardia Nacional was the one that was involved in that. It's a dire situation. And again, who do you turn to? If you're the United States trying to look for inroads of collaboration or work, who do you turn to? The current administration, the current Biden administration, and what could be the next administration with Harris are not friends of the Mexican government. They're completely right now they're in conflict. Whoever comes next, as far as an administration, like whoever wins this next election, might kind of like tell us where this is going to go. But if it keeps going on with this current political trajectory, which is very much confrontational and silent, which is kind of scary, I think we're in for some sort of conflict at the border.
What I found interesting in the past 3 years, 4 years, whatever, is the almost neglect of what's happening on the border. And I'll say it that way, the neglect as in like almost this passive, like, oh yeah, the border crisis, but no real actions being made that have been effective. And also seeing this kind of loophole claiming asylum system that turns into still allowing entry into this country without any kind of deeper investigation onto the individuals or whatnot, right? So just on that alone, is there a threat that we should be worried about? Yeah, please go ahead.
I'm from Tijuana. It's my hometown. Every now and then I get a lot of criticism because I talk disparagingly about Mexico, and I wish I worked for the tourist industry so I can talk about some of the beautiful places in Mexico. I make it a point to talk about a lot, specifically my hometown, and I actually have a podcast myself that I film in Tijuana. And I probably prove a point around it. It's like,
I'd love to come there with you one day.
You're right though, Manalia. How he just walking around? All the disparaging shit they say he says. They had ex-president's brother working with the Gulf Cartel. It's out there too. Shout out Heck Perez. Says screw it, Mayo. They should be talking about the women and children they locked up in these abandoned Walmart warehouses, and the border patrol abusing them. Been there since Obama. The kids that they're leaving in the storage in the storm drains. You know what I'm saying? Same old thing. In the border towns in Texas, all illegals. Yeah, leaving babies in storm drains and shit. Shout out Albert Flores. I want to hear this phone call, but only the U.S. has it. Yeah, the irony. I wanted to hear that shit too. As soon as he said it, but I was like, what he got? Special connections. Well, first we need the name of the general he's talking about. So if anybody knows who that general is, let me know.
You're more than welcome. We just,
you're more than welcome to risk your life in Tijuana. You know what I'm saying? When who's that kid Chuy Montana, what they did to him out there. He ain't safe out there, but this guy's safe out there.
Eddie Gallagher on. We had a few people just come down and eat tacos, and we'll show them around the city. It's one thing that's very clear down there, and I think I've taken a few reporters around, and
okay, there it is, Cienfuegos. All right, I want to look into that story. Another day, duly noted, appreciated.
And kind of seen some of the situation down there. I took Sean Ryan to one of the immigrant camps right on the.
Another military guy selling dope, right? Out there bad. Either candidate or shut the border down. There's been local and presidential ads on it. Big drought's about to hit.
Border, which is funny as hell. I think he took a video of it. I have a picture of it somewhere. It's this one of the migrant camps right on the border, and had a giant Biden flag in the middle of it, which is pretty hilarious. We handed out a bunch of Make America Great Again hats to those guys. They didn't know what they said. It was pretty funny. But you saw within this group of people stories that were pretty interesting, and you would see reporters come down from news agencies in the U.S. that would kind of ignore those stories. They wanted the human experience, but they didn't want to hear about the fact that they didn't want the North Africans staying with them in that camp because they didn't want those guys there, and they would stay somewhere else. They wouldn't talk about the Russian and Chinese immigrants that would show up because they would stay somewhere else. They would not only stay somewhere else, they would stay like in housing. So somebody clearly with money from China is providing a pipeline from Mexico up into the U.S., right?
Welcome to your personal port, Captain. Choose a ship and click.
And if you know anything about intelligence, Chinese intelligence is basically everybody in China is part of the Chinese intelligence organization. So I don't know. I do a lot of
China.
I'm very traumatized. I've been through a lot of shit myself, so I'm very observant. And when I see some of these young Chinese military age individuals walk around in cadence without swinging one of their arms, the right arm.
Where they at? Where I need to see these videos. We need videos of Chinese migrants walking around in cadence with one arm down. Cause man, what?
Suspicious. I don't know. Individuals walk around
military,
and when I see some of these young Chinese military age individuals walk around in cadence without swinging one of their arms, the right arm, it's suspicious. I don't know. Maybe they all went through military training out there. It's like an obligatory thing in China.
Yeah, probably. It's something they used to. It's crazy talk. Shout out Frost on the check-in. Mahmoud said the Sean Ryan show exposed U.S. core military funding. Other criminal group paid up to $40 million weekly to keep crimes around the world going. Paid my taxes. Yep. There was a migrant camp for Haitians too, right at the border. It was crazy to see all these black dudes with dreads speaking French. Heck said, and who could that be? The U.S. government with money and pull it off. I don't know, man. What did that dude say when we were watching that Jorge Ventura interview? He said they went from 10 apprehensions to 1,100 apprehensions of Chinese people that nobody knew where the hell they came. Well, they knew where they came from, but how they came from. He's throwing salsa on the taco, is he? Quite possibly, unless I see a video of Las Vegas and 12 guys walking in unison in cadence with their arm down. If I see that video, I'm gonna look for it tonight. If I see it, then
I know, but I don't know. It's weird.
Shout out Boss Lady on the check-in. Appreciate you coming through. Salutes to everybody in the building. Hundreds up in the chat for you. Hit the like button if you have yet to do so. I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. Salutes.
You see a lot of strange occurrences of people being caught with fake Mexican IDs who are clearly Arab or of Arab descent.
Really?
And some of them with documentation that comes all the way from Spain. Like they were clearly being moved into Mexico.
Yeah, like a strategic approach to do it.
Yeah.
So
Remember, we saw that in the conversation about the Chinese-Mexican connection and how they would go from what? From one spot to Colombia, from China to Colombia, and Colombia to Panama, and Panama through that straight whatever they had to go through, and all the way till they ended up here. And then they disappear. They don't end up in the storage drain. They got money. They got land. I'm gonna show you something later on in the next conversation. A detailed list of things that were given to these Chinese migrants for them to do when they made it across the border. It's terrifying. All right, we're gonna get there. Salutes. Ed, funny as F sometimes. Gotta respect him for everything he's been through. He's talking his shit, his opinion. Salutes. Colonel Zola.
And in the past,
on the check and appreciate you, sir.
the U.S. would have people that knew a little bit about this stuff on the border, like myself or some people that used to work in our liaison unit, and would have an open line of communication. We're like, hey, I know how to speak English, and also a bunch of you guys showed me what to look out for. This guy looks weird. He's an Egyptian guy, and he has this fake documentation. Do you want to know about him? I guess that doesn't happen anymore. There's nobody like us anymore on that border. There's nobody's going to be like, oh, look at these guys are weird. Let's see if we need to tell somebody about it. It's silence now. So it's free for all on that border.
yeah, we had a gentleman on here named Corey who lives on the ranch down by Ucumba in San Diego, and he collected over, I think it's close to 1,000 Chinese national documents, from ID cards to passports, just discarded.
You dump them. You have to dump them because they could tell people who you are.
That's what we heard from the other guy, that the Chinese were advised that before they crossed the border to get rid of all of their paperwork, and they did. They destroyed it, got rid of it, which is where this list that I'm telling you about comes from. Somebody found it and picked it up off the ground, and it was translated. Heck said the U.S. helps them all out. Mota Warrior on the check-in. It's true. Just recently here in the U.S., they caught a Chinaman pretending to be a school student. Look at that. Salutes to you. I appreciate you checking in. All right, we're going to be done with this video very shortly. I'm going to give you guys the link so that you guys could check out the full thing on your own. We got what we need.
I used to find them in Tecate, like burn piles. It's basically people burning their documentation, just sifting through some of these. These are, Tunisian passports, weird Egyptian ones, just anywhere in the Middle East. You would see North Africa. But the alarming thing is the volume, specifically the volume recently. Back when I was active, 6-7 years ago, you would see, small groups of people walking in line, dressed in camo, maybe, making an effort to hide. Having these black water jugs and everything, and carpet shoes. They don't give a fuck now. They just fucking march in formation and just in masses. I think that's what they figured out. And it on the cartel side, it's Christmas. I mean, they're taxing every single one that goes through that border.
Yeah, the statistics have shown that they're making more money transporting bodies than they are drugs anymore, and so it's more.
Well, think about it. They said that from the average of being $5 grand, $6 grand, $10 grand, these dudes was getting 35 stacks for these Chinese guys that was clean cut and walking with money.
Prevalent to see bodies coming across, and I say bodies as in humans, right? Human trafficking, human smuggling, whatever you want to deem it, but. Yeah, so there's more money right now currently what they're doing with humans than it is drugs.
Yeah, and speaking to, I got to speak to one of them probably 4 or 5 years ago, just right at the start of this, like the caravans, and he was saying the whole build the wall Trump phenomenon that we saw was amazing for them. Because even with the heightened border security, they could still put people through the ways they had in the past.
Yeah.
So they only made the perception of it being more expensive.
Yeah. I interviewed Luis Chaparro, and he was like, yeah, the cartel wants Trump to win because it brings more money to them, because the notion or the idea,
the perception.
Yeah, the perception of it'll be more challenging to cross. People are willing to pay more because they want to make sure they gain access. And so
and
this whole country, this whole civilization is just a snake eating its own ass, man. A snake eating its own tail is what it is. Mahmoud said people need to understand that here in America we have two different entities. We have American land, we rent the land, and the U.S. core where they created their own codes to punish the U.S. Everybody's here to step on me and you. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Everybody's here to step on me and you. We can do what we can with what we got, but everybody's here to step on me and you. Period. Salute, hey.
And the crossings did drop, and then these mass waves of migration started hitting the border. But he told me, he was like, "There's different ways we make money. One, we'll tax you if you have to cross through our territory. We'll tax your family who's already on the U.S. side, and if you're stupid enough to tell us you have family on the U.S. side, we'll tax them." And if you're really stupid and you give us a lot of details about them, we'll open source information, those fuckers, and see how much money they actually have, and we'll ransom you off. That's another way they make a shit ton of money. Like this guy told me he made 25 grand off of this kid from Puebla who was going to cross. His parent, one of his parents, I think, who was already in the U.S., had to sell a truck to get him out, basically. And they didn't call the FBI. They didn't call anybody. They just sent fucking money. So that's another way they make money. And also just the trata de blancas. They'll have women with them who will recruit. And if it's somebody that's young enough and pretty enough that they can utilize, they get grabbed.
What did you call that?
Taken somewhere else. Trata de blancas.
What does that translate to?
It's basically looking for people that can be sex trafficked, basically.
Yeah.
So that they're on the board, they're recruiting. You go separate. And then when you go to the U.S., they get sent to a hotel room. Or to a house somewhere, and they start getting the grooming. They start getting groomed, and it's always women around them, because it's not dangerous here. There's women here. Nurture. So polleros, or like human traffickers, actually set up this whole system now where they have women with them it's safe. It's safe. Like a woman saying it's safe.
This is what we glorify, though. This is what we want to put on a t-shirt, right? That's what people are telling me. Oh, my cartel's the best. My cartel's the best, man. Y'all be snatching up babies off the street, man. Fuck what you talking about. It was definitely dirty, even if they just divided the money after they busted someone. Nah, he looked like, he could have dabbled.
They've come here,
wow.
So that's another way they make money. And also just the indentured servitude aspect of this. You can't pay now, you cross. You go and work in one of these immigrant facilities where you hire some illegals, and you have to pay off your debt there, right? So, we talk a lot about slavery in this country, our history with slavery, and we have current modern day indentured slaves that look and have the same skin as you and I have in the United States right now. Some of them were working for Gavin Newsom in California during COVID as essential workers at his estate and restaurant.
Wow.
You have modern day slaves in the U.S. and it's
complex.
Very complex.
I want to go back to the conversation about Mexico and the relationship with America. Is there ever a potential for war between both countries?
Shout out Chucky. Said he would drink too hard. I know he did some Mexican marching powder too. I don't doubt that either. You just gotta look at his nose to know that. Pick a nostril. Tell me which one. But that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinion on my show. Salute. My move said humans alive are worth more than human organs now, and they know. Who will pay for an empty building be filled up other than migrants?
Countries, and there's kind of a weird war happening now. But the idea I have, someone who's been to combat, someone who's highly trained, what is the capabilities of the Mexican military or cartel? Is there a real threat to be worried about?
So again, these are opinions. These are theories. These are also conversations that I've had with high-level military people in Mexico, including some of the members of their.
These are opinions. These are theories. These are what I talked about with the top guys that ever did it. But
Special forces that I've had with high-level military people in Mexico. These are theories. These are also conversations that I've had with high-level military people in Mexico, including some of the members of their special forces units, which I got to train with and work with a few times during my time down there. And some of them are retired now, and some of them have YouTube channels. And some of them talk about some of the stuff online with a mask on, but they talk about it.
I have a couple of their contacts. I'm trying to get them on.
They're pretty interesting people. If it's who I think it is, he's a legit guy. And the perception in Mexico is one that there will never be an open armed conflict with the United States because of the effects it would have on the U.S. itself. So the U.S. is very much aware that Mexico is its number one trading partner right now. It used to be Canada, but Mexico surpassed Canada. It's also clear to the United States that Mexico, it's on its way to become the new China. It has the industrial base. It has the people to manage that industrial base, and it is and has been receiving a lot of the outflow of investments from China into Mexico. So there's a lot of the Chinese companies were like, you're gonna
China buying up both sides of the border. That's just a fact. Shout out BLS Smoke. BL Smoke said still on the brocane. Salute.
tariff our cars, our electric cars. We'll just build them in Mexico. That's a true thing and happened. The U.S. is very much in a symbiotic relationship with Mexico, and anything that happens in Mexico has an effect in the U.S. That's very clear. With that being said, Mexico right now, as it is in a very antagonistical position against the United States, because we're seeing an uptake and growth in populist leftist government in Mexico. They have no opposition. Well, this is something the U.S. and Americans have to be kind of clear-headed about. In Mexico, there's a single ruling leftist, pro-Chavez, pro-Venezuela, pro-Putin, pro-your enemies government, federal government that has no challengers. In this past election, I think they won by like a large enough margin. Like a lot of former political parties had to be defunct, basically. So this federal government, and just in general, this culture that it's being developed around it is very anti-American. So this is what is growing in Mexico, and the U.S. is very much aware of this. I think we're about to have a new president coming into power, Claudia Sheinbaum, a Jewish Mexican leftist individual who is the first female president of Mexico, handpicked by the former president, the outgoing president, and has a lot of radical ideas and beliefs. The Rockefeller Foundation person, by the way, which is pretty kind of interesting, and also BlackRock sponsored. I don't want to go into conspiracies, but you could look into this yourself.
He got all the dirt on that lady, man.
It's
really
pretty interesting. Yeah. So you have this political coldness and volatility against the United States down there. Basically, they invited Putin to the inauguration of the incoming president. Which is, think about it. Putin shows up to Mexico, which I don't think he's stupid enough to show up, but you never know.
That's crazy.
You have this antagonistical thing going on with the current federal administration. Funny enough, they're pretty friendly with Trump, at least as far as what in the past. The current president and Trump had a good relationship. Apparently, the current president calls him his friend. But you see this hostility between both sides now. You see a military that has clear plans on what happens if an invasion happens with the U.S. They do have plans in place, and
Really?
if you talk to this the contact you might have on with that wears a mask, he can talk to you clearly about some of this stuff. But they have clear orders to basically empty out armories and meld into the civilian populace and go into guerrilla warfare fighting. And they have the capability of doing stuff like that.
Here we go.
You have clear indications that people like the New Generation Cartel will never go for any sort of deal with the United States, and they're going to be a completely antagonistical institution against the U.S. if they ever decide to invade or go after them in any direct confrontation. So,
do you think CJNG, because the way they talk about them when it comes to warfare, they seem very calculated, right? You don't think they're calculated enough to eventually down the line make a deal with the United States, same way Sinaloa did all them years ago, or however many times they've had to do it over the years? I don't know, man. We'll see. That, or like he says, they're completely confrontational and say, shh, come and get some. He's definitely schooled by America. Salutes. Mahmoud said, Big Pharma blame Mexico, but Big Pharma are the real problem funding U.S. core military. Big Pharma is a problem just letting people fall into these mass graves because of greed. It is what it is. Salutes. Let me see. Ed worked for Big Pharma, U.S. core military. He just can't expose his real boss. Also said probably already did. To what? What did I say? He probably already did what? Oh, probably already made the deal. CJNG probably already made the deal. Yeah, we'll find out when the redacted classified files are released in 30 years.
and also the fact that if the flow of fentanyl and drugs from Mexico closes off completely, let's say the U.S. does something I envision them doing, which is a naval blockade on both sides of Mexico, inspecting anything that goes in and out of it. And you see
is he taking credit for Jay's idea? Ain't that Jay's idea? Jay said he wants, salutes also, he said facts. Jay said he wants to have his name on checkpoints going in so they could catch the money and catch whatever's going into Mexico. Because they only have them check-ins on the way in to the United States.
Basically the pipeline of drugs cut off completely into the United States. I think you're going to see the effects of it in a few months. And it's going to dwarf whatever the COVID epidemic was as far as people going into withdrawals. I mean, it's going to be a massive health thing. And you see basically the pipeline of drugs cut off anything that goes in and out of it. Blockade on both sides of Mexico. Something sides. I envision them doing, which completely. Let's say the U.S. does something I envision them doing, which is a naval blockade on both sides of Mexico, inspecting anything that goes in and out of it. And you see basically the pipeline of drugs cut off completely into the United States. I think you're going to see the effects of it in a few months. And it's going to dwarf whatever the COVID epidemic was as far as people going into withdrawals. I mean, it's going to be a massive health crisis in the U.S. if it happens.
Interesting.
Which is something, again, I've heard about, talked about, what if they start poisoning drug loads?
Yeah, that's it's like an internal way of destroying the country from the inside.
Yeah. I mean, Mexico has a pretty, doesn't have a military that can project, of course, but it does have a pretty experienced institution as far as the military, as far as battle hardened and knowing how to operate in its own territory. I'm not saying the U.S. can't take them out in a few days, but I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
The U.S. probably has never gone up against a country that has a lot of its citizenship living in the United States and has a border with. So it would be a complex conflict. Are there plans and are there things out there that people are kind of thinking about? Yeah, they have been for a long time. I think something after the stuff that went on with the Fast and the Furious,
Yeah.
I think specifically. I think that led a lot of Mexican leadership into thinking about the U.S. as an antagonist more so than a friend, and it's been a growing sentiment amongst Mexicans in general, as viewing the U.S. as an antagonist.
You say there's
a lot to unpack right there. I'm gonna drop the link for this video in the chat so y'all can catch that, the rest of that on your own time. We'll move on from this video. We got a whole lot out of it. He just broke down. Shit. It's a lot, bro. It's a lot. Let's see what the Perfecto J said. Good. I guess he's talking about the withdrawals. Chucky said, I think Chapitos are done. Who's going to trust them? They're basically turning people in for their benefit. I mean, they all do that, though. You know? The Mayo kids testified against Chapo for their benefit, too. Like, this is what these guys do, and then they go back. They got a primo that didn't talk on nobody, so he's the guy now or some shit. Perfecto said we need less rugs. Facts. The real Ed is in the building. Shout out Ed the Hip Hop Guru on the check-in. GG said Ed Calderon is wrong. America will never cut off the rug supply. Why? Because rug users and rug dealers fill jails and prisons. Absolute fact. But we also heard Mayo would never be caught. So never say never. Something weird can happen. That could be some weird way of a tactic. Starve them out. Let them deal with the bodies. Who knows? Who knows? But I don't see them emptying prisons either. In order to do that, they need to change these laws that are putting these non-violent criminals in there for, crazy amount of time. Legalize rugs. Gigi said the war on rugs was used to build a monster jail system, a monster police force, and a court system, and they swing that shit around like a billy club. Facts. A dad for a dad. Yeah, like they're all in the same game of turning each other in. If you have yet to hit the like button, please do so. Salutes to you. I just dropped the link for that in the thing. I wanted to move on to this since they were speaking about armed conflict and with Mexico, between the United States and Mexico, and we're talking about the Chinese immigration and shit like that. I wanted to get to this guy. Said Navy SEAL, and he says they're preparing for war on American soil. His name is Mike Ritland. Chucky Chigon said, but you think Mencho or any leader would meet any of them after this? I wouldn't. No, hell no. Meet them? Hell no. Where your plane at, man? Walk in with the hammer. Where your plane at, man? You better not have a plane out back. Fuck wrong with you? Salutes. All right, boom. I don't know if y'all seen the new short video that we got. Go check out that short when you're done here. Boom. Let's get this right here.
They're here for some specific reason. There's an intentionality to that many people that all look the same and are doing the same things and having directions. There's a reason that's happening. We can debate as to why that is. And again, my opinion is that the tens of thousands of fighting age male Chinese men with stacks of cash who are in good shape.
He just said the same shit that Ed Calderon just said. Huh? Fighting age men. You know what I mean? Military aged men with money.
Who aren't looking for, a place to stay to get away from their country. They're here for a very obvious reason. Even with them, I've seen people, kind of fear-mongering of saying, oh, they're going to build a Chinese paramilitary and help take over the country. They don't need to do that.
That's what Nick was saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, they really don't. I mean, like, could they? Sure. But, like, there's way easier ways. Like, now, if those guys are going in to help facilitate EMPs or grid, neutralizations or, poisoning water.
For those that don't know what EMPs is electromagnetic pulse. Things that can mess with our systems, man.
If those guys are going in to help facilitate EMPs or grid, neutralizations or, poisoning water, tables or what have you. Maybe I think it probably has more to do to facilitate with large scale hacking and things like that, where they're putting pop-up towers and building networks to help facilitate a larger scale thing. I don't think you're going to see those guys trying to acquire machine guns and doing like a conventional army kind of thing. That's just my opinion. But
we just had this kid Nick Shirley in here, who does all these videos where he's down at the border and then he'll like come up to New York City and go to like the migrant centers and stuff. But do we still have that picture that he airdropped you of the Chinese directions? Do you have that? I have it, yeah. All right, let's see if we can pull this up. So this kid was just doing a video in San Diego where I'll fuck up the name of the town, but the place where they were, where there's a hole in the border or something, and they're always coming across, where you have people from South America, and then a lot of Chinese people come through this area because they have like a set system of what they're gonna do. And he's like, these are usually able-bodied, single Chinese males. So it's like, all right, I'm not trying to be like, oh, definitely espionage, but like somewhere in there is like some of them have to be. And so he had this document that he was able to get. How did he say he got it? Do you remember?
I think it was a migrant that he found it on the ground or something, because there were Chinese coming through, and I think he found it.
Right. So he got this document, and it was all in Chinese, and then he had it translated via like AI. And I told him get it double checked by a human, but but it mostly translates correctly. Do we have it on the screen? So this is it right here. We're going to zoom in on it. But I'm not going to go read the whole thing. I read it on that podcast with Nick. But essentially, this is like direct directions of what to do.
All right, let's read this shit. So this is a piece of paper that they found on the floor through a route where migrants come through that come from Mexico, from China through Mexico, right? Shout out my mood. Said people need to understand we're going digital. Money, everything will be tracked. We damn near there. And this was found on the floor, right? And they took it and they translated it. Let's see. Here we go. It says, when our government leaves you outside without providing you when our government leaves you outside we probably lost something in translation there. When our government leaves you outside without providing you with limited food and water and medical, if you find an urgent medical problem, please inform the volunteer or the patrol team immediately or call 911. You are located in one of the following camps: Moon Valley, O'Neill Camp, Chacumba, California. Okay, so these are the camps. Then it says, please respect the land. Please pick up the garbage and don't burn the vegetation. We don't know how long you will stay here. It may be a few hours or a few days. Food, water, and basic medical service will be provided once or twice a day. When you leave here, you may be taken to the local processing facility. We don't know how long you need to deal with it from the facility. Be sure to wear warm clothes during detention. Be sure to turn off your mobile phone before leaving the camp. If you travel with your family, you need to tell border patrols who you are traveling with to reduce your chances of getting separated. You should not be separated from your spouse or children. Try to be together until you are released. For more information on providing assistance to separate family members, please see below. From the local processing facility, you will be released or sent to an immigration detention center or fly to Texas for processing. Most people will be released to locations in San Diego or Riverside County. Those ladies that are being left in, I think Heck said it, that are being left in the Walmarts, those kids that are being left in the storm drain, they don't got no list of, directives and things that they need to do to get through this. This looks like an operation, a mission, them pushing people into the country. It says, if you are traveling with minor children with medical needs, physical, intellectual, or speech disorders, pregnancy, over 55 years old, or LGBTQ+, you can choose to go to the shelter. You will be able to stay in the shelter for 1 to 2 days and receive legal, medical, and continuing travel assistance. If you are a single adult or a group of adults, Border Patrol personnel will send you to the transit station. If you live in the San Diego area, if you live in the San Diego area, meaning these people got bread, they got places to go. They're not stuck nowhere. They're not just getting across the border and just getting left. They're already set up. They're like, hey, once you release, then you go do this. You got to go see so-and-so. If you live in the San Diego area, you can call your guarantor at any time and arrange transportation to your new home. If you travel outside the San Diego area, he said, if you end up in, I guess it says if you end up in San Diego. Heck says, facts. That sounds like it was written by Democrats. I don't know. Yo, man, Aaliyah. You got a one-track mind. One-track politics in a two-track country. It's all bullshit. If you live in the San Diego area, you can call your guarantor at any time and arrange transportation to your new home. If you travel outside the San Diego area, the free shuttle will take you to the Old Town Transportation Center, where you can find the free shuttle to the airport and the railway station and bus station. You need to pay for the hotel, catering, and transportation by yourself. The airport provides free Wi-Fi, and you can buy SIMP there if you need it. You may send the glue to the shelter operated by the Salvation Army. You'll be able to stay for 12 days and get legal, medical, and post-educational travel cities. Post-educational travel cities. We're losing shit in translation. And your other family members were sent to the Holy Land Brother. The salvation vehicle can be collected and coordinated with the Holy Land so that you can be reunited with your family. Look at that. Gordo Gordito said a lot of Venezuelans had instructions similar. Really?
Do step by step when they get here that, to make a long story short, ends with them going wherever the fuck they want in America and doing it also, by the way, if they choose to follow these directions to a T, which many of them probably get like a quarter of the way through and then say I'm good and disappear off the map. But like if they follow it to a T, they're doing it in all legal protocol.
Good night, Sally Correa. Appreciate you. Have a good night. Thank you for checking in. Salutes.
As well. Yeah. Like contact the lawyer to have this case go through when you get to this place.
Exit, damn it, no más falta el steak and shrimp. Man.
Whatever. And I think about this, and this is where I do get scared. Like, all right, we're making it this easy. You know, we already see the fentanyl wars coming across from the cartels, which is coming from China, the actual fentanyl itself. It's like you got an opium war, you got a potential espionage war going on the border. Like that is a what's that? Why am I forgetting words today? That's like a I'm really at a blank for words, but like that's an aggressive action. These are aggressive actions. That's not what I'm looking for, but it's gonna get the job done. That we're seeing from one country to another, and we don't seem to be taking that seriously enough.
No, I agree. I mean, you see it with, it's not just Chinese. I mean, you see people from the Middle East, Egypt. I mean, you name it. There's people coming from all over the fucking planet right now that similarly are you know, it doesn't look like you're a refugee, you know, like they're in good shape, they're well fed, you know, the clothes they have, like they're clean cut. So it's like, well, why are you here? I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty.
Ventura, that they're clean cut, they got money, they're not coming here in want or need for anything. Like they have an objective. They're set up. They're not fleeing some war-torn country. Or you know what I'm saying? They're not fleeing. They casually traveling, basically.
Pretty easy to ascertain and appropriate to do so, you know, to think that, well, they're here for some specific reason. There's an intentionality to that many people that all look the same and are doing the same things and having directions. There's a reason that's happening. We can debate as to why that is. And again, my opinion is that it's, you know, to help facilitate, or in case of, you know, if there needs to be a facilitation of something. But again, like when you look at that bigger picture, you know, if China was to completely take over the country or demolish it, that's not going to be in their best interest. Now, you know, that could certainly lend itself to saying, well, if enough of them come over here and kind of set up shop, plant their roots in and start building businesses, or, you know, get elected to certain offices, or, you know, what have you, like to me, that's a smarter play, and they're a very long game country that way. So I could see them doing something like that, where they're trying to influence our culture, they're trying to get into our politics, they're trying to start businesses, that, you know, they're trying to not assimilate into American culture, but do the exact opposite, because you've seen such a divisive component to even within the confines of our government, of, wanting to say like, oh, diversity is our strength, and so we need to recognize everybody. We're not Americans. It's, you're Ukrainian, you're Cambodian, you're,
Right.
whatever, and that's a problem. So yeah, I think it's probably more they're just trying to take advantage of it, because, for them to try to, infiltrate with enough people to, to match police and military and whatever, like, I don't think that's that realistic, in my opinion. But
yeah, it's more. I agree. I think it's more the potential spy and information angle, because we know they've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to your story. Which
Yeah.
we had a great, awesome tangent there to start off this podcast. With all that other stuff, I'm sure some things will come up along the way. But
So that was basically it. I wanted him to get across what Nicholas Irving got across, that these dudes are doing something. Same shit Ed Calderon just got across. Now, are all of these guys shields for the United States government, and that's their job, is to go from podcast to podcast and fearmonger? I don't know. But I'm sure there are some things to be worried about. You know what I mean? It's not looking good. It's not looking good. Salutes to y'all. Hundreds up in the chat for y'all. Hit the like button if you have yet to do so. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me tonight. Shout out Chucky Chingon. He said, I hope that Fetty ish stops. It's horrible. It's the worst, man. It's pretty bad. Heck said spies. Agree. These guys is chilling. Before we get out of here, I wanted to show you about this channel. Like, this channel is trash. Where's it at? This channel is the most clickbait AI trash that people are going to on a daily basis. And I ain't hating on nobody, because it's a robot ass, China ass channel. You know what I'm saying? Again, there's a lot of these Chinese YouTube farms that have, these YouTube farms that have these channels that ain't worth shit. So this channel is called, and I'm sure some of y'all have seen it, but it's just, let me see. Lost it. Channel. There it is. It's called The Club. All right? Come on, man. They wildin'. Now, I can't speak for every video because I don't watch every video. All right? But this channel, to me, is misinformation, at least in one sense. And in another sense, it's bullshit. All right? This channel is called The Club. All right? I'm just letting you know so that when you see these videos, just question. The next time you watch one, if they're not just recycling the same information over and over and promising you something on camera that'll never happen. All right? Just blatantly. Right? But they're getting what? 170,000 subs. 87,000 views on videos. 43,000 views on videos. But they're just feeding the people bullshit over and over and over and over again. And they got the AI. They set it up differently. My bad. I thought y'all could see me when I was talking my shit. Boom. You know? It just seems like a bullshit channel to me, man. They're always promising some shit. Let me see. Shocking new video of El Mayo's return to Mexico. Is that possible? Do y'all think that's possible? No. No. It's a bullshit title. Right? 15,000 views. That was today. And all they do is recycle the same information that they recycled in this one, and this one, and this one, and they just mix and match it. Add a little of this, add a little of that, but it's never, leaked messages between El Mayo and Chapo. That didn't happen. We got the Don Alejo story from this channel, right? Now I gotta question that. But considering it's not about the same subject, if you're looking at a Mayo video, if you're looking at a video post Mayo being captured, it's bullshit. Revenge on camera. No, you're not going to show shit on camera. So I just want to make y'all aware of that. All right? Don't waste your time if you feel like you're having your time wasted. Just pay attention. I'll unalive all Americans. Terrifying new interview with El Mayo scares the U.S. Come on, man. It's not even clickbait anymore. It's just blatant bait. You're trying to fake out a fish, right? Now they're basically telling these people this is bullshit, and the people are still clicking on this shit. It's trash. It's trash. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind when you're looking at channels. There's a couple of them like this out there. This ain't the only one. You know, these are just people making money off of views, but you pay. Your time is valuable. You paying with your time. We scroll, we be on the internet, we listen to shit, we're entertained. Don't let these people talk bullshit to you. Right? Leaked footage. Everything is leaked footage. What happened to the wives of famous cartel bosses? All I see is an AI made video with scenes from the Capone movie. You know what I'm saying? The Al Capone movie. All of these AI, pictures of Mayo. Like, it's all bullshit, bro. Look, he got a box of money right here. All this AI shit. So again, just be very mindful who you getting your information with. These people's out here lying. All right, these people's out here lying. I'm gonna link y'all to the latest short that we did in case you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, give it another spin so that we can get that shit moving in the algorithm. Let's see. Got that. Boom. Make sure you check this out. It's only 30 seconds. Make sure you get to that. Salutes to y'all. I appreciate y'all hanging out. If there's nothing else, don't forget Friday we're gonna be live. If everything goes accordingly, we'll be live on Friday to cover was La Barbie or the cartel connected to the unaliving of Jenny Rivera. All right, we're gonna look into that on Friday. Salutes to y'all. Let's see what Let's see. I'm gonna go through the chat real quick. Let's see if I missed anything. Nah, I seem to have gotten to everything I wanted to get to. Right. Salutes to Heck. Let me scroll up as far as this will let me. Shout out Fernando. Appreciate you coming through with the info and your insight, sir. Shout out Ivan Castro. Upper Echelon. Salutes to you. We got questions. You bounced on us. Shout out Victor Islas. Hector Rivas. Manalia. Again, Fernando. Salutes to you. Ivan Castro. Chucky Chingon. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Gordo Gordito. Manalia. Dan Sosa, salutes to you for checking in. Andre Vargas. Sheldon, salutes to you. Yuck TV. Sally Correa. Old Soul, salutes. JFL. Again, Chucky Chingon. Scuba Steve, salutes to you, sir. Eddie Jimenez, I appreciate you. Johnny Silver. Gino. Shout out Elushin. 298 Sosa, I appreciate you, little brother. Angela Thomas, salutes to you. LA Inferno, I appreciate you. Albert Flores, thank you for helping push the content forward. Young Jizzle, salutes to you. My Mood, appreciate your insight today. Shout out William Cadell. Al Gore, salutes to you. Velez 408. Heck, salutes to you, Heck Perez. Shout out Aquino. Rilo, I appreciate you, sir. BL Smoke, salutes to you. Perfecto J77, Ed the Hip Hop Guru, Gigi. Alright, made it back to the bottom. Salutes, I appreciate y'all. We're going to go out the way we came in. If you have yet to catch any of our playlists, please catch our playlist. I'm going to drop links in the chat right now to our playlist. We got the Cartel Wives and the Surviving El Chapo playlist. Make sure you check that out if you haven't done that. Paste. There you go. Got the True Crime playlist and the Zach TV 1 playlist. Check that out if you have yet to do so. And we have our exclusive interviews with the Flores twins. Got that for you if you have yet to check that out. Make sure y'all hit the like button on them things. If you have yet to subscribe, please do. Here's an invite to our Discord. Dropping all the links. We're dropping links. Boom. Here we go. That's pretty much it. Right. Shout out Chucky Chingon. Shout out Heck. Shout out Oso. Philly 500 pounds. Salutes to you. Right. We're going to go out the same way we came in. We're going out with one song tonight. Y'all have a good night. I'll see y'all Friday. Make sure you go check out that video. All them videos I just dropped. Check out that new short. Give it a like. Salutes to y'all. Y'all have a good night. And I will holla.
Hanging from a thread till you dead, cause your partner put a price on your head. Cause your chick was laying up in his bed, she getting details, spilling every word that you said. She working retail, thirsty bitch just trying to get ahead. If history tell us anything, y'all both end up dead. It's just a street tale, a fable, some shit someone said. Sit at the table and hope there's more to offer than bread. Pulled out the cradle, first steps you getting chased by a fed. No head starts, just body parts and lead sparks. Old religion, brand new hate and weak hearts. Oligarchs, krakens, dragons, you see sharks. Imagine you could manage to maneuver the deep part. You a savage, you can have it, just show all your teeth sharp. If you could grab it, you could stab it, just aim for the bleeding heart. The ones that show compassion, the soldier that seeks art. Does the artist that wage war take over or take part? Taking a knee, thinking no one faithful is me. I'm good people in bad lands, no evil live within me. I mind mine, I'll survive, find this land's for the free. If I'm mistaken, I'm forsaken, no one rescuing me. Residual effects, stray bullets through familiar necks. For any number of infractions that I deem disrespect. Your beliefs, you deserve better, but we both in the shit. You just haven't come to grips with it yet. Fight or flight, and they ain't really nowhere to go. If your back is against the wall and you ain't throwing no blows, you gon' crumble in the rubble, become blood in the snow. If you a victim, they collect them, grab the body and go. Dig them and ditch them, total disregard for the soul. Gas them and lit them, watch the flesh burn in the glow. Where we live and catch a shiver, this a hell you don't know. Your best hope is that your dying ain't slow, or your dying's a show. Where we at, it's every man for his own. A bloody backdrop, where killers just zone and slice flesh to the bone. Masked and gloved up front of your home. A flash of gun, but the side of your dome. Fresh blood from a stone, dents in your sense. Kick your fucking ball through the fence, dare you to say something. No sense in sitting around in suspense. Find out what's next, open your fucking mouth, disrespect. See the extent of how my life is intense. She beautiful and oppressed in a permanent summer dress. She a servant and still she blessed. Children cradled against her breast, whispering prayers, wishing their souls the best, knowing that they forgotten, not forgetting they're blessed. The bloodiest red lights, just piles of dead life. Something must be broken, the glyphs wasn't read right. You think them Bible papers will shed light? Yeah, right. Burn after reading, tell the preacher I'm leaving.